last of the homestand. The Blue Jays finish up a 6-game stretch at Rogers Center, trying to end on a positive note. After beating the Guardians in a 3-gamer, the Red Sox have taken the first 2 of this series in Toronto. The Blue Jays try to avoid a sweep tonight. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rogers Center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Show Ali is our host and producer. Austin Mackey and Tom Young are our technical directors. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Arnprior and Stittsville. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. 2 guys dubbed aces in the preseason battle today as Kevin Gausman takes on Brian Bayo. It was an up-and-down start to the year for Gausman, but he's been good over the last month plus. For Bayo, though, it's been a month-long skid after an early season injury. We'll see first pitch from Gausman next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, streaming on sportsnet.ca, the Sportsnet app, and across the Sportsnet radio network.
Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart Deferred Payment Program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
So Blue Jays fans, you want to know about salsa? Salsa is more than dancing. It's more than music. Salsa is the passion and spirit that is at the core of the beautiful cultures of Latin America. The Blue Jays are bringing salsa to the ballpark on June 27th. Be one of the first 15,000 fans in attendance and receive a Blue Jays chip and dip bowl. Celebrate salsa and create core memories with your Blue Jays. It's salsa night. For tickets, visit bluejays.com. Right, Vladdy?
Everybody salsa.
Copa America kicks off Thursday, and you could hear all the top soccer stars from North and South America in action on Sirius XM. The U.S. men's national team goes toe-to-toe with elite competition, including Brazil and defending champion Argentina.
It's Messi! It's always him!
Hear every Copa America match, plus expert analysis, all tournament long on Fox Sports 83 and Sirius XM FC 157, or listen anytime on the Sirius XM app.
Scotty Scheffler is the Masters champion.
The biggest events in golf are on PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the Sirius XM app.
I mean, you may see him tonight off the bench, but I think, kind of targeting, you'll see him this weekend in Cleveland, starting a couple games for sure. And, I think for tonight, you're just looking at the starter for them in Bayo and how he is against righties and lefties, trying to get left-handed bats in the lineup tonight and line up our defense accordingly. But it's a whirlwind day yesterday for him and, a lifelong dream that's been achieved. So I think having guys, whether it's, Vlad or Ernie, Schneid, Barge, Spence, having Eddie here I think is cool, Encarnacion, who he's close with. It makes the transition a little bit easier for sure.
That was manager John Schneider before the game talking about Aurelvis Martinez, who's again on the bench tonight, has not made his Major League debut yet. We'll see if he gets in today or if his first Major League appearance is a start coming up on the weekend. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. And Madison, we do know that Kevin Gausman is going to start today for the Blue Jays. What do you expect out of him?
Yeah, Kevin Gausman coming off of that start against the Guardians where he might not have had his best stuff. Definitely wasn't his worst day out there on the mound. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on that fastball velocity because we've seen it vary quite a bit this season, going from 87 miles per hour all the way up to 95 miles per hour. I think, of course, he's at his best when it's up there consistently in the low to mid 90s, especially when he's able to locate that fastball low in the zone. I feel like it makes that splitter play up so much better. So going to be keeping an eye on his stuff and see if he can get out to a hot start and try to keep this Red Sox offense that seems to be building up some momentum here in Toronto, see if he can hold them at bay long enough for this offense to score some runs behind him.
Red Sox have won 4 games in a row. They've scored 28 runs in those 4 for an average of 7 a game. Blue Jays trying to avoid a sweep and not let the Red Sox get too far in front of them. Let's take a look at the Bet365 standings. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. Yankees lead the division at 51-24. In second place, Baltimore 47-25. The Red Sox 39-35 in third. The Blue Jays 35-38 in fourth. And the Tampa Bay Rays are 34-39 in fifth. Red Sox and Blue Jays having the lineup cards handed in right now for the visiting Red Sox, managed by Alex Cora. Jaron Duran leads off, plays left. David Hamilton, the shortstop, bats second. Right fielder and Burnaby, BC native Tyler O'Neill hits third. The cleanup hitter is the third baseman Rafael Devers. Batting fifth, the DH Masataka Yoshida. Second baseman is Emmanuel Valdez. He bats sixth. Reese McGuire, the catcher, hits seventh. Dominic Smith, the first baseman, batting eighth. And in center field, batting ninth, Romy Gonzalez. 7 of the 9 Red Sox hitters bat from the right side. Blue Jays trotting out onto the field in their City Connect uniforms, and they'll lead off the second baseman, Spencer Horwitz. The DH batting second, Justin Turner. Hitting third, the first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The cleanup hitter is left fielder Dalton Varsho. Catching, hitting fifth, Danny Jansen. In right field, batting sixth, George Springer. Addison Barger plays the hot corner and bats seventh. Shortstop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hits eighth. And the center fielder, batting ninth, Kevin Kiermaier. On the mound, standing at 6'2" from Louisiana, Kevin Gausman, about to make his 15th start of the season. A .500 record at 5-5, a .408 ERA for Gausman. A 4-seam fastball, a 2-seam fastball, or a sinker, whatever you want to call it. He's got a slider as well, but the big pitch, as always, is the splitter.
And he can locate it in all different parts of the zone, and I've always been fascinated with that splitter and the way that he's able to manipulate it to move in a variety of different directions. It makes it really difficult for batters just to go up there and sit on that pitch, because it could have completely different looks on it, at bat to at bat, pitch to pitch, and throughout the ball game. He only threw one of those sinkers in the last game against the Guardians, so primarily going to be heavy with that 4-seam fastball, throw a lot of those splitters, and early I'm going to be watching the balls that the Red Sox decide to swing at, or the ones that they decide to take, to see what their game plan is coming in against Gausman. Are they going to try to go after that splitter and hunt that pitch early, or are they going to make him forced to throw some of those 4-seam fastballs into the zone?
Gausman just wrapping up his warm-up pitches right now. The Blue Jays throw it around the horn, and we're about to get started in the first inning, which is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. Jaron Duran stepping in for the Red Sox. Blue Jays in their pitch blue City Connect uniforms. Blue font and red and blue numbers. For the Red Sox, it's the Road Grays. Duran leading off for a third straight day. Steps into the box left side. Gausman adjusts the back of his cap, tucks the ball into his blue glove. Righty kicks and fires. Called strike at the knees to start this ball game. Time of the first pitch, 7:09 Eastern. A warm 31 degrees Celsius, 88 Fahrenheit in Toronto. Roof open, sun just over the dome in the left field corner. 0-1. Swing and a foul into the netting, 0-2. Early on, a pair of fastballs from Gausman.
Big healthy cut from Jaron Duran on that fastball, too. Good velocity on those pitches, too. The first one coming in at 93, that one coming in at 94. That's one of those pitches, if it's any slower, I think Duran would have had a good piece on it.
Gausman's 0-2. Check swing, first splitter of the day, misses outside. Gausman's been a strikeout in inning exactly this year, 75 Ks in 75 innings, and has not walked many, only 16 walks. He kicks and delivers. Swing and a miss. High fastball gets Duran swinging, 1 out.
Really good locations for all of those fastballs, staying on the outside part of the plate to Jaron Duran. A bit of arm side run on that last 4-seam fastball, too, which I very much like. Diving up and away from the lefty Jaron Duran, and already a really good start for Kevin Gausman on the day.
Gausman gets Duran to start the outing. Here's David Hamilton back in the lineup after being used as a sub late in yesterday's game. First pitch. Swing and a hard hit liner, right field. Coming in, Springer catches it off to his left. 2 quick outs for Kevin Gausman. He's only thrown 5 pitches.
And 4 of the 5 have been that four-seam fastball. That one he worked on the inside part of the plate to David Hamilton, got him jammed up a bit. So George Springer had to run several steps in to make that catch, but got a good read and was able to make that one easily.
2 outs, bases empty. Here's Tyler O'Neill. 3 homers in 2 games this series for O'Neill. Gausman's pitch. Outside, ball 1. All timely homers for the right-handed hitter and right fielder from Burnaby, British Columbia, who hit a game-tying homer in the 8th inning yesterday. Let's make it 3-3. Red Sox would win 4-3. 1-0. Inside 2-0. You go back to game 1, he hit a homer after back-to-back strikeouts in the first to get Boston on the board. And then after the Blue Jays made it 2-1, he homered again in the 3rd inning to stretch out the Boston lead.
There's no doubt that Tyler O'Neill has been a problem for the Blue Jays in this series against the Red Sox.
2-0 pitch fouled back, 2-1.
Seems like he's seeing the ball incredibly well no matter who's throwing it, whether it's lefties or righties that are out there on the mound. He's hitting them with great exit velocity, too. The average exit velocity of all the balls that he's gotten hits on so far in this series, 106 miles per hour off the bat.
Wow. You can see how he does it. Very stocky right fielder. Takes the 2-1 inside. 3-1. Listed at 5'11", 200. Maybe like 3% body fat on Tyler O'Neill.
You can tell he has lifted his fair share of weights, that's for sure.
Back elbow raised up high. The 3-1 pitch. He'll take it down and away, ball 4. Gausman looks out into the distance in frustration. With 2 down, he walks O'Neill.
Definitely not happy with the location of that last fastball. Missed low and outside. Looked like they were trying to nail that outside corner to him, making sure that he wasn't able to barrel anything up. Almost yanked that pitch a bit too much on the glove side, so it misses. And now a base runner on board with 2 away for Devers.
Third baseman Rafael Devers hits for the first time in this game. O'Neill leading off first, held on by Guerrero. The pitch. Outside, ball 1. Devers batting .284 this season. 15 doubles, 14 homers, and 38 RBIs. Front foot on the back chalk line of that batter's box. The pitch. Swing and a miss. 94 inside, tied up Devers, 1-1.
I think it's really encouraging, too, that we're seeing Kevin Gausman come out with the velocity early, because there have been several games throughout this season where maybe it starts out in the high 80s, low 90s, and then works its way up to 94, 95, but now you're seeing him throw 95 straight out the gate.
Gausman will step off. What do you think that does for his other pitches?
I think it makes that separation in velocity even more drastic with that splitter, because you have to gear up for the 95 mile per hour pitch, but also be aware of that splitter diving away from somebody like Rafael Devers. And the closer those 2 pitches are in velocity, you're just having to time up for one certain speed.
Gausman's 1-1. Swing and a foul back. 96 from Kevin Gausman, 1-2.
Pumping it in there pretty good. And throughout this year, he's even said that he doesn't turn around and look at the velocity. He doesn't look at the radar gun. He doesn't want to know. He's just going off of the feel. Very encouraging to see him throwing that hard this early in the game. My question with that is, are you going to see it stay up through the ball game?
Gausman 13 pitches in. 2 outs, runner on first, no score. The 1-2. Swing and a ground ball right at Guerrero. Gets it on a knee, slowly gets up, and retires his friend Devers to end the inning. A step on the bag by Vlad. Ends a scoreless top of the first. 1 hit, 1 left on. It'll be Spencer Horwitz, Justin Turner, and Vlad batting in the bottom of the first inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza, and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. and inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed-rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart deferred payment program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball cracked to center field, to the wall, to the track. It's gone.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Show Ali, our host and producer today. Austin Mackey and Tom Young, our technical directors. Brian Bayo wrapping up his warm-up pitches. The 6'1 right-hander from Samana, Dominican Republic, makes his 13th start of the season today in Toronto in Game 3 of Blue Jays and Red Sox. Up and down year for Bayo, who's 6-4 with a flat 5 earned run average.
There have been times where he just doesn't have his best stuff out there. Sometimes it's a bit of walks. Sometimes there's some unearned runs too, some errors that have happened behind him. Sometimes he's the one that has made some errors that have led to some runs. So the Red Sox definitely hoping to get a better start from Bayo today.
First pitch to Spencer Horwitz, right on left, misses outside, 1-0. Bayo throws a hard sinker in the mid to high 90s, has a changeup and a slider as well. 1-0. Called strike. There's the change, and when Bayo was a rising prospect in the Red Sox system, that was the pitch that caught a lot of people's attention.
And it still is a very good pitch that he'll work with the slider like you mentioned.
1-1 pitch is hit in the air down the left field line. Moving to the corner, Jaron Duran up near that high wall, runs out of room. It drops into the seats. Foul ball, 1-2.
He's another one of the pitchers for the Red Sox that's revamped his pitching arsenal this year. You look back to 2023, still threw that sinker about 36% of the time, the changeup 24% of the time. He had a four-seam fastball that he threw last year 20% of the time, and then that slider coming in at 17%. Look to this year, 2024 season, he's throwing that sinker 39% of the time, and the slider and the changeup both coming in at 30% apiece.
Yeah, he has killed the four-seamer. Here's the 1-2. It's a high bouncer to second. Charging in Valdez. Takes it on the short hop. No, it skips past him. And guess what? Spencer Horwitz is on base again. He leads off the first with maybe an error on the second baseman, maybe a base hit.
Might not have been the hardest hit ball off of the bat of Spencer Horwitz, but he's going to take this one getting on in the bottom of the first any way that he can. Chops it extremely hard down into the ground right in front of home plate. Valdez charges this one hard, tries to get it on the short hop, but he didn't get his glove down close enough to the dirt, and so it just goes right underneath his glove over at second base.
They'll give Horwitz a hit. He's on first. Here's Justin Turner. The pitch. Fastball, strike one.
Are you a little surprised they called that one a hit? I think that if it hit more of his glove, they probably would have called it an error, maybe because he missed the ball completely. They gave it a hit, or did they think he was going to beat it out no matter what?
That's what I think maybe they're saying. 0-1, and it hit Turner. Hit him, I believe, on the elbow of the lead left arm. And now the training staff quickly is going to come check on Turner, who held his arm in that position, elbow bent for a second, but he jogs away from John Schneider and Jose Menestral. Doesn't want to hear any of it.
He waves him off immediately. This looks like the changeup. It actually got Justin Turner on the left forearm, so it missed that left elbow guard completely, gets him right on the forearm, takes a moment to himself, waves off John Schneider, and then hustles down to first base.
So Schneider on first, Horwitz on second, and just to wrap up, I do lean that they're saying that because it was hit so high, maybe it would have been a really quick play. That was Valdez tried to go quickly there, and
yes.
that probably
you had no
causes the
choice.
error.
You had to go quickly to even try to make a play over at first base.
So first and second, no outs. The pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is bounce foul 0-1. If you haven't seen it, it's a very different look for Vladdy. No hair is coming out of the back of that helmet. He has cut it very short compared to what we're used to.
I think he was telling our Hazel May that when he hit 5 years in the big leagues, he was going to cut his hair, and he decided to cut his hair. I think it looks great. Looks awesome.
He's about a week short of 5 years service time, but he's going to be on the road, and they have the barbershop here.
Very true. I like the long hair, too. Like the short hair.
Here's the 0-1. Vlad takes 98 at the knees, 0-2.
Bit of a generous call on that sinker low in the zone. Tough break for Vlad. He did swing at a fastball that probably would have been called a ball for the first pitch of this at-bat, and now he finds himself 0-2.
Bayo's pitch. Guerrero swings and misses. Another sinker that ran in. He strikes out for the first out of Brian Bayo's day.
That sinker can be really tough against these right-handed batters because of how much sharp arm side run that there is on this pitch. It's one of those pitches that starts off looking like it's going to stay middle of the plate, maybe even inner half of the plate, and by the time you decide to swing, that pitch is almost wrapping around the backside of Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
So Guerrero is out, and here's Dalton Varsho. First and second, one out. The right on left pitch from Brian Bayo. Up and away, ball one. Varsho is one of 4 left-handed hitters that the Blue Jays have in the lineup today. And when you look at Brian Bayo, he has some pretty significant splits. When you're talking on-base plus slugging, lefties OPS 200 points better than righties, 1-0. Foul tipped into the glove.
Batting averages are fairly similar to righties and lefties. Lefties definitely have about 30 points higher in batting average, but it was the slug that stood out to me. .512 slugging percentage against left-handed batters versus a .358 slug against right-handed batters.
1-1. Inside, Varsho jumps back. Yeah, when you look at, they've had almost the same number of at-bats, lefties and righties against Bayo coming into this game. 125 for lefties, 123 for righties. 7 homers for left-handed hitters, 3 for right-handed hitters.
Putting all these lefties in the lineup hoping to do damage with just one swing, and one of the players that we know can do damage with one swing is Dalton Varsho if he's able to get a hold of something.
14 doubles leads the team, so does 11 homers and 35 RBIs. First and second, one out. No score, bottom one. The pitch. Swing and a foul back, headed near us. Oh, and it bounces in. You nearly had a play on it.
I almost had a play on it.
Nearly had a play on it. But that's our first booth ball of the year. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm a little upset with myself that I didn't fully catch it, though.
Well, it caught a little bit of the front facing of the booth.
It did start to go down in the zone a little bit, like the sinker that we're seeing from Bayo, but
I'm just glad your laptop didn't make the catch.
I was trying to catch it before it got to my laptop.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
I knew you were going to dive out of the way, so that was my only shot. I had to go for it.
No chance whatsoever. Varsho out on the slider. 2 strikeouts for Bayo after 2 base runners allowed. And Blue Jays in danger of stranding it here.
Similar situation that we've seen in the past couple of games, whether it's a leadoff double or a couple of base hits back-to-back, just base runners that get on and they're not able to move them over.
Blue Jays had a runner on second, no outs in the first yesterday and didn't score. 2 down. Here's the pitch to Danny Jansen. Goes around on a pitch that's a called strike anyway, 0-1.
Hesitant check swing by Danny Jansen, that fastball low in the zone. Typically a pitch that he likes to go after, especially on the inside part of the plate.
0-1. Swing and a fly ball out to left, shallow. Shortstop Hamilton going out, making the call, called off last second by Duran. He's got the easier play in left. Makes the catch and ends the inning. A hit and a hit batter, 2 left on, no runs for the Blue Jays in the first inning. 0-0 after 1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Summer sounds like poolside party starters. Red hot hip-hop mixes. and backyard barbecue classics. With exclusive specials and mixes, plus over 200 extra channels, your sun-soaked soundtrack awaits. Just tap into the SiriusXM app and search Summer Sounds.
Hey everyone, it's Brian Geltzeiler from SiriusXM NBA Radio. The NBA draft begins on June 26th, and we're your home for all the action. Hear non-stop coverage on all our shows.
Mark it down. That guy is going to be a star in this league.
Exclusive interviews.
We are now joined by Bronny James.
I just found happiness in what I'm doing right now, and I feel like that's where I want myself to be at.
And every pick on the big night.
With the first pick.
Your home for the 2024 draft is NBA Radio, Channel 86, and the all-new SiriusXM app. Just search NBA Radio.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike three and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's the second inning presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. Thanks so much for joining us at Rogers Center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Game 3 of this series between the Blue Jays and Red Sox. Toronto trying to avoid a sweep. It's 0-0 as Masataka Yoshida steps in to start the second. Kevin Gausman stepping on the rubber, pulls on the brim of his cap, adjusts the back of it, and sets. Here's his pitch. Called strike one. Saw the fastball go as high as 96 in the first inning. Starts Yoshida off with 90.
90 miles per hour, just such a drastic difference from all the fastballs that we saw in the top of the first.
0-1 pitch. Called strike 0-2. That one 93.
At some point, I do feel as a pitcher you can use that to your advantage, because when you know for sure you're going to see a four-seam fastball consistently 94, 95, you can stick with that timing. But when he's varying it all over the place, he can at times try to get people off time that way.
0-2 pitches, the splitter down and away, taken for ball one.
The only thing I wonder with the velocity constantly changing is the timing of the release, and maybe the pitches aren't going to the exact spots that he would like them to if the pitch were 94, 95 versus that 90, 91.
1-2. Swing and a miss. Doubles up on the splitter and gets Yoshida. Second strikeout of the day for Gausman.
Sometimes when you just throw a pitch that is that good, it doesn't matter what you're looking for, how much you're sitting that pitch, you're just going to swing and miss. And this pitch is absolutely filthy. That splitter with the arm side run and great depth on that one as well. Yoshida well out in front on that pitch, just flailing at it, trying to make contact, and he's not close.
Yoshida the first out of the top of the second. Here's left-handed hitting second baseman Emmanuel Valdez. First pitch. Hit foul. Off to the left and into the deep first deck. 0-1. Valdez in his 46th game of the year, a .205 hitter, 5 homers, 24 RBIs. 0-1. Check swing, pitch outside, appeal to third, no swing, says Roberto Ortiz. Home plate umpire today is the crew chief Alfonso Marquez. Lance Barrett at first, Emil Jimenez at second, Roberto Ortiz at third. Gausman kicks, fires, and Valdez will take at the knees a splitter for strike two.
Gausman will mix up the locations where he throws that splitter too. For the most part, to lefties, you're going to see it diving down and away, but that splitter he decided to move a little bit more on the inside part of the plate. And I find when he throws it glove side, it's got a bit more of that depth to it. It's going to drop a little bit more in the zone than those pitches that he throws away.
Gausman's 1-2. Swing and a bouncer off his glove. Caroms to IKF, the shortstop, who picks it up, throws to first for the second out. A little bit fortunate there for the Blue Jays. That deflection could have gone poorly.
played that one off very nicely, too. This one hit pretty sharply off of the bat of Manuel Valdez, straight back up the middle. And when Kevin Gausman went through his follow-through, so his right foot's going to step across on the mound, he tries to throw his glove back behind him the opposite direction and just happens to ricochet straight to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who was playing right back up the middle.
So 2 outs after that 1-6-3 put out. Here's the pitch to Reese McGuire. Former Blue Jay cuts and misses, 0-1. Catcher and left-handed hitter, batting .219 in 40 games this year, 3 homers. He gets his second straight start despite the breakout season by Connor Wong. 0-1. High. Infield shifted to the pull for the left-handed hitter. Shortstop IKF up the middle. But Addison Barger is closer to third, and he's playing near the turf in case of a bunt. Outfield shifted the opposite way. 1-1. Just outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Solid day for McGuire yesterday. Went 0 for 2, but walked twice. He lifts the bat high toward the sky, pointing the barrel up, 2-1. Takes strike 2.
There was a part of me that was expecting to see Connor Wong back in the lineup today, but they decided to go with Reese McGuire. I wonder if it has something to do with the splits against Gausman. Lefties batting .296 against him this year versus the righties batting .240.
Wong does hit from the right side. 2-2. Fastball outside, 3-2. But you just wonder, I know there was some discussion the other side about guys like Ernie Clement in the Blue Jays lineup today. You got Connor Wong hitting .330 this year.
I definitely agree with you. There's a part of me that leans to the bats that are just swinging a hot bat no matter if there's a righty or a lefty on the mound.
3-2 pitch downstairs, and McGuire, proving his worth in the lineup, takes ball 4. Second 2-out walk for Gausman. Did it in the first inning against O'Neill and now does it to McGuire in the second.
And that pitch, too, missing well outside of the zone. Those are the types of free passes that you don't want to give up, especially to this Red Sox team that's done some damage with 2 outs already in this series. Just feels like the more pitches and the more information that you give them, it benefits them as you get deeper into this ball game.
Turn and throw to first, skips away from Vlad. McGuire taken off for second, and he will get there on the E1 as Kevin Gausman bounced it over to first base. McGuire easily moved into scoring position.
Coming into this series, of course, everybody was thinking about the fact that the Red Sox stole those 9 bases against the Yankees in Game 3 in that series at Fenway. So trying to do whatever they can to be aware of that presence, and that's the type of chaos that even the thought of stolen bases can create out there on the field. Gausman trying to throw that ball over to first base and way offline to Vladdy. So allows McGuire to go over into scoring position at second base.
First pitch to Dominic Smith. Hit in the air, high but not very deep down the left field line. Varsho moving toward the side warning track, makes the catch still on the turf, and ends the inning. Again, no runs and no hits for the Red Sox. 1 error, 1 left, and it's 0-0, middle of the second, Blue Jays and Red Sox. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart deferred payment program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
When Blue Jays starter Kevin Gausman is on the mound, you hear a lot of pops at Rogers Center. The pop of the ball hitting the catcher's mitt. The pop of the crowd as they cheer on another Gausman strikeout. But most importantly for Goss, the pop of his bubble gum.
Swing and a miss. Got him on the splitter again. One of the best at his craft.
Gausman loves his gum. So be one of the first 15,000 fans on Wednesday, July 3rd and get your Kevin Gausman bubblegum bobblehead. Get your tickets at BlueJays.com.
Bring it
in, Canada. When it comes to small business, Desjardins is a big fan. And not just the hop on the bandwagon fan. We're the in it for the long haul fan. The fan that's been there from the start. That's why Desjardins awarded 150 entrepreneurs with Good Spark grants worth $20,000 each. Because like any fan, there's nothing we love more than celebrating a goal!
See how Desjardins is cheering on small business at goodsparkgrants.ca.
Hey, this is David Schneider. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the second inning in downtown Toronto. George Springer leading off for the Blue Jays in a scoreless ballgame. Thanks so much for sticking with us. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Madison Shipman. It's Springer, Addison Barger, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hitting for the Blue Jays against Brian Bayo in the home half of the second. Toronto had a hit and a hit batter. No runs in the first. The righty Bayo winds and delivers. Springer takes, called strike one at the knees. Blue Jays right fielder batting 196 this year, 7 doubles, 5 homers. 0-1. Grounded foul behind him. 94 on the inside edge, 0-2.
So far, to all the righty batters that Brian Bayo has faced against the Blue Jays, he's really working that inside part of the plate hard with those sinkers, that great arm side run that he gets on that pitch. He's been able to get ahead in the count very quickly to the righties.
0-2. Called strike 3, 97, maybe a hair off the plate outside, but a pretty good pitch, and he gets Springer to start the inning.
Looks like it freezes Springer a bit just because he went on the other side of the plate that we were just talking about, 97 miles per hour on the outside part of the plate, called for a strike. You wonder if maybe Springer was thinking he was going to see either that slider or the changeup, but he goes back with that fastball.
First pitch to Addison Barger, outside 1-0. 1 out, bases empty, no score, bottom of the second. For Barger, his 9th major league game. 1-0. Swing and a miss. Big hack there on an off-speed pitch at the bottom of the zone. That was the changeup. One. Called strike 2. For Barger, he's 5 for 28 to start his major league career. 2 RBIs, still looking for his first major league extra base hit. Right on left, the pitch. Swing and a liner, left center field. That's down in the gap and bouncing toward the track. Sliding stop by Gonzalez, but there is the first major league extra base hit for Barger, who slides into second with a 1-out double.
It's a really great piece of hitting by Addison Barger. Gets this slider after falling behind in the count 1-2, and it's a pretty well-located pitch outside, but it just curves a little bit over the plate. Addison Barger able to keep his hands inside on that swing and drive it out to the left center gap. Makes it into second base standing up. Really fun to watch him take BP too. You could see him practicing those types of swings before the game got started today, and to be able to execute it in the game is big for him.
Swing and a miss by IKF on the first pitch he sees. A right-on-right change to make it 0-1. Yeah, you had pointed out a couple times over the last few days, Barger really working on going the other way in BP. Next pitch to IKF, clips him on the forearm. Second batter hitting as many innings, but IKF quickly got rid of the bat, started jogging down to first base, so thankfully both the guys who Bayo have hit so far are okay, and it's another big opportunity for the Blue Jays. First and second, 1 out.
And it's a couple of those sinkers that are just getting away from him because he's trying to establish the inside part of the plate, and thankfully for IKF, it looks like it did hit it on that left arm guard, whereas Justin Turner got it right in the forearm. So he immediately tosses all the gear, hustles down to first base. But yeah, Addison Barger with his swings before the game, clearly trying to get pitches that are maybe inside, but working on inside outing those balls the opposite direction, because we know that his power is definitely to the pull side.
First pitch to Kevin Kiermaier, check swing, tapper, foul, 0-1.
And what that does, too, when you're able to take away a certain part of the plate or take away a certain pitch, especially if it's early in the ball game, maybe his next at-bat, he might get some of those fastballs on the inside part of the plate, and those are pitches that he knows he can turn on and crank out to right field.
He's on second. IKF on first. The 0-1 to Kiermaier. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Second was the inning that the Blue Jays got it going yesterday with an Ernie Clement 2-run double. Scoreless game here, bottom 2. And an odd thing for the Blue Jays this year, while they've struggled in the first, they have 55 runs in the second, which leads Major League Baseball. 0-2. Swing and a liner foul off to the left. I mean, it's kind of odd, frankly, that a team with the 27th best run-scoring offense in baseball would lead in any inning of the 9 in Major League Baseball, but they really seem to do damage in the second.
Well, and it's interesting, too, when you go to the first inning, it's not like they're getting out 1, 2, 3 every single time, but there are times where they get runners on, even the first 2 runners of the inning on.
0-2 pitch, poked out to center field. Slicing to left center, calling for it. Gonzalez makes the catch. 2 outs.
Those are the types of at-bats that I'm sure Kevin Kiermaier wishes he could get back, wishes he could get something more to the pull side just to advance those runners an extra base. When we talk about them struggling in the first inning, a lot of it has to do with those unproductive outs that you get after quality at-bats. So far to start off this inning, 2 quality at-bats back-to-back after the strikeout to George Springer, and then right there a swing on a changeup that's well outside, just flared out to center field, and now your base runners are stuck where they're at.
Spencer Horwitz tries to change that. First and second, 2 outs. First pitch hit on the ground, right side, fielded at first by Smith. Flips back to Bayo and ends the inning. A hit and a hit batter, but again for the Blue Jays, deja vu. They leave 2 on, do not score. No score in this game. We're going to the 3rd. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Our core values: equality, respect, the pursuit of greatness. Through and through, this is who we are.
Be at the ballpark to experience a proud tradition. Canada Day, Monday, July 1st. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays Canadian tuxedo hat giveaway. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Proud to the core. Canadian to the core. Blue Jays to the core.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball hit to center field. Varsho with a dive, and he makes the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 3rd inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Arnprior and Stittsville. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. No score, top of the 3rd inning in downtown Toronto. Kevin Gausman faces the 9-hitter Romy Gonzalez for the Red Sox to start the 3rd. Gausman getting some dirt out of his cleats. Now steps onto the rubber and gets ready to face the right-handed hitting center fielder. Bouncing on his front left foot is Still, and the pitch. Fastball, strike 1. Only the 20th game this season for Romy Gonzalez. Has dealt with some injuries. Batting .282. No homers, 6 RBIs. 0-1. Swinging a bouncing ball hit sharply through the legs of the third baseman, Barger. IKF goes to bare hand. He misses it. He never really had a shot at a play, though. And that'll be first base for Gonzalez. They call it an error on Barger.
That one came off the bat pretty hard of Gonzalez, but definitely a play that Addison Barger needs to make over at third base. Looked like it just skipped right on the turf in the infield and clipped off of the edge of his glove right between his legs. IKF had to hustle after that one. He missed it initially on that ricochet, but still Gonzalez stays over at first base.
So top of the order now with a runner on first. Gausman's pitch. Swing and a miss, strike one. For Barger, he was playing in, as he does right now, on the edge of the turf, and that one was hit 95, but when it hits your glove and goes through your legs, it's going to be an error. Second chance now for Jaron Duran, 0 for 1 with a strikeout swinging. The pitch. Swinging a foul ball to the left, 0-2. It's the second Blue Jay error of the day, and we were talking about the run game when the first error popped up, which was a throwing error by Gausman on a pickoff. This year, batters are 12 for 13 trying to steal bases against Kevin Gausman, and the 12 total stolen bases is 6th most in Major League Baseball that any pitcher has allowed.
He was the pitcher that we really talked about a lot coming into this series after seeing all of those stolen bases that you knew that the Red Sox were going to try to take advantage of that high leg kick.
0-2 pitch is hit in the air left field. Varsho Stunner stepping in, now backs up and makes the catch head high. That's the first out at the top of the third.
You can tell even, too, before every single pitch, he's making sure that he keeps his eyes over on Romy Gonzalez. We were surprised that he even threw the ball over to first base with McGuire. Over at first, not typically your stolen base threat for the Red Sox, but clearly that's a point of emphasis for the Blue Jays coming into this ball game. If they get on first base, make sure you're trying to keep them as close to the bag as possible.
Gonzalez has 2 stolen bases this year. He's also been caught twice. Here's the pitch to David Hamilton. Low and in, ball 1. This is the guy who really creates a lot of havoc on the bases. So does Duran, who just went down. But Hamilton, despite not being with the team the entire season, leads the Red Sox with 19 stolen bases.
Had a big stolen base last night, too, coming into the game. Just a pinch run, takes off immediately, steals second, and ends up coming around to score.
Runner takes off on the 1-0. Pitch is strike. Throw down to second. Not in time. It tailed a little bit. IKF caught it and tagged actually the foot, it looked like, of the runner Gonzalez, but he was in there for his 3rd stolen base of the year.
Gonzalez looked like he got a pretty good jump, too, off of Gausman, immediately takes off, dives head first into second base, and you're right, that throw just taking Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to his left a bit and forward. He had to actually reach back to apply that tag, got him on the foot, but it was after that left hand had already touched second base.
So now a runner in scoring position for the second straight inning. 1 out, Gonzalez on second, IKF pounding his glove behind him, and the pitch outside to David Hamilton, 2-1. One thing about Gausman, too, in terms of the jump, a couple years ago, renewed emphasis on box. Gausman bounces that front left foot, but the last couple years, he's had a much more pronounced stop, so you have a better idea of when he's going to go to the plate. Looking out at second, IKF goes over to second, and Gausman will step off.
I believe he was used as almost the example of that rule. I want to say going into last season, just how he would bounce and then immediately go into his motion.
The rules do say you have to come to a full stop before pitching. He does now, and the 2-1. Swing and a miss. 96 past Hamilton. 2-2.
There's no doubt about it that he definitely pauses now before he gets into his pitch. Humming that one in there, 96.3 miles per hour on that fastball. If he can keep that velocity up like that, it's going to be a good night.
A look at second in the 2-2. Swing and a liner, center field, base hit. Kiermaier fields it on a bounce. They're sending the runner. Throw to the plate, hits the runner, and he slides in safely. It caroms to the backstop, and all the way around to third is David Hamilton. An RBI single, and it might have been a close play, but that run ended up bouncing and striking the runner. It's 1-0 Red Sox.
You can see Kevin Kiermaier in center field does not look happy with that throw that he threw into Danny Jansen. I thought he had a chance on this throw, but because the throw tailed arm side, so it took Danny Jansen up the line, it actually hits Gonzalez as he's sliding into home. Would have been a very close play at the plate, even if that throw was on line. Hit very sharply off of the bat of David Hamilton, right back up the middle.
So that's going to be a third error on the Blue Jays, by the way, getting Hamilton to third. They call it E8 on Kevin Kiermaier. So 3 errors in 3 innings for the Blue Jays. A run in, infield in, runner on third, 1 out. The pitch to Tyler O'Neill is hit off the fists, a pop-up, middle of the diamond. IKF runs into Horwitz but makes the catch. Throwback to third but back in there, just safe, is Gonzalez. There are now 2 down.
Definitely a bit of miscommunication there between Horwitz and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, both of them going for this ball that completely jammed up Tyler O'Neill. Neither one of them wanted the ball to fall, so they're going after it. A lot of chatter on the field as they're going for it. Ultimately, it's IKF that comes away with it, but it got a bit dicey as that ball was hanging up in the air.
He does have seniority, the shortstop, in terms of making a call, but it's kind of a new infield right now for the Blue Jays with some injuries, having Vlad, Horwitz, IKF at short, and Barger at third. Here's third baseman Rafael Devers. 1-0 Red Sox, 2 outs, top of the third, and the pitch in the dirt. 1-0.
We talk so much, too, about with this offense and how they've struggled this year that the pitchers have to be nearly perfect out there on the mound. But the other part of that, too, is that the defense has to be perfect. And we've seen less than perfect defense so far in this top of the third. This inning got started by an error by Addison Barger over at third base.
1-0. Swing and a miss. Yeah, it was a ground ball to start the inning by Romy Gonzalez. It goes through the legs of Barger, so Gonzalez is safe at first. He steals second, and then after a fly out, David Hamilton singles to center. The throw from Kiermaier bounces and hits the runner. That allows Hamilton, who advanced to second on the throw, to go all the way to third on the bouncing ball that got away to the backstop. 1-1 is popped up behind the plate into the seats. Foul ball by Devers. Now 1-2. 2 outs and still Hamilton on third. Hamilton takes his lead deep into foul territory on the turf. Gausman looking at the plate, never even looks at Hamilton. The 1-2 is hooked to first on the ground on 2 hops. Guerrero fields, and he'll just jog over to first himself to end the inning. An unearned run against Kevin Gausman. 1 hit, but 2 errors in the frame for the Blue Jays. And the Red Sox take a 1-0 lead because of it. 1-0 middle of 3. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on Sirius XM.
Let's go, man!
We're back on the track Sunday,
1:30 p.m. Eastern.
It's the USA Today 301 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Yeah!
On Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app. Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the Sirius XM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah!
Hey everyone, it's Brian Geltzeiler from SiriusXM NBA Radio. The NBA draft begins on June 26th, and we're your home for all the action. Hear non-stop coverage on all our shows.
Mark it down. That guy is going to be a star in this league.
Exclusive interviews.
We are now joined by Bronny James.
I just found happiness in what I'm doing right now, and I feel like that's where I want myself to be at.
And every pick on the big night.
With the first pick,
your home for the 2024 draft is NBA Radio Channel 86 and the all-new SiriusXM app. Just search NBA Radio.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. When it comes to home improvements, Timbermart has the expert advice and the right products at the right price, so you won't find yourself out in left field on your next DIY project. Game on, home team. Timbermart is Canada's building center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. 1-0 for the Red Sox over the Blue Jays as we go to the home half of the third. 2-3-4 batting for Toronto this inning. It starts with Justin Turner. Brian Bayo with a deep breath. The righty winds and delivers. First pitch is a called strike 1. Back in the first inning, Bayo got ahead of Turner 0-1, and then he plunked him on the forearm. 0-1. Swinging a liner, headed to center, down for a base hit. And Turner is really starting to get it going here in June. He's aboard for the second time today.
After taking the sinker inside for a strike, he goes after the slider the very next pitch and gets great extension. I love the way that he's able to let go with that top hand, fully get that barrel through the zone to drive that pitch out to center field. And I got a chance to talk to him before this ball game just about what's been clicking for him the past couple of games, and very simply put, his timing. He's finally on time for the pitches that he's swinging at and making better contact, and we've seen the product of that throughout this series.
First pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at the knees, strike one. For Turner, it's his 7th time aboard in this series. 4 hits, walked twice, and hit by a pitch.
And maybe it's the level of familiarity, too, because he knows exactly what these pitchers are going to try to throw.
Next pitch inside, Vladdy jumps out of the way.
But we did see these types of at-bats and swings from Justin Turner earlier this year, I think back to April, and at that great start that he got off to, and it's nice to see him back to form here in the middle of the season, moving him up to that 2 spot today in the lineup.
1-1 pitch. Swing and a fly ball center field. Medium depth coming in. Romy Gonzalez under it makes the catch. Guerrero retired. 1 out. Jay's Care Split the Pot raffle is already over $800,000 with just under 3 weeks until the grand prize draw. That will be evenly split among 10 different winners, and the best part is it's all tax-free. Head to BlueJays.com/5050 from Ontario or Nova Scotia. So Guerrero retired. Here's Dalton Varsho. Bayo from the stretch, the pitch. High, ball 1. Blue Jays loading up on left-handed hitters today, and so far the lefties are 2 for 5. A hit from Spencer Horwitz and a double from Addison Barger. Varsho 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Turner on first. 1 out, and the 1-0. Bends the knee, but doesn't swing at another pitch high and outside. 2-0.
It is always interesting how the game works out, and John Schneider was asked about moving Justin Turner up to that 2 spot, hoping that there would be some people on base so that he could drive in some runs. And, of course, he comes up in the bottom of the 3rd, and he leads off the inning and gets a base hit to start things off.
2-0. Fouled off. 2-1, and now Varsho tries to fill that role and drive in Turner as Turner's moved up, and Danny Jansen, who had hit in the top 2 for a lot of the last month, is batting 5th today. He's on deck. The 2-1 pitch. Outside ball 3. Schneider playing the hot hand here with Turner. Blue Jays don't have a ton of guys going right now, so moving up the guys who are going better. Bayo kicks and delivers. Varsho swings and misses. Fooled by that changeup down and away, and now it's a full count.
It's a really good pitch, and every pitch that he's thrown to Dalton Varsho in this at-bat has been on the outside part of the plate. The sinkers and, of course, that changeup moving down and away from Varsho.
Bayo in the set. His 3-2. Inside ball 4. Tough take on 97. That barely missed the zone. But Varsho will take a walk, and the Blue Jays have a runner in scoring position with 1 or fewer outs for the 3rd straight inning.
By Brian Bayo's reaction on that pitch, he cannot believe that that pitch was not called for a strike. Maybe just inside a bit. It definitely did not look like it was up. So if anything, a bit too far inside to Dalton Varsho. A tough pitch to take, especially with 2 strikes, but he'll take that walk.
Reese McGuire, the catcher for the Red Sox, steps in front of the plate, gives some signs through the pitch comm to his infield in case of a double steal. Would be surprised. Turner's on second, Varsho's on first, but you never know. Danny Jansen at the plate, 1 out, 1-0 Boston, bottom 3. Bayo's pitch. Called strike 1, 99, the hardest we've seen today from the righty.
So far, he's looked pretty good, too, and he's been up and down in his starts, as you mentioned, Ben, throughout this season. Really comes down to, one, the command of the sinker, but also the locations of some of those changeups, too. Those have gotten him into some trouble this year.
The 0-1. Swing and a foul off. Yeah, it's been an interesting year for Bayo. He's the opening day starter for the Red Sox. Gets a big extension in the offseason, or rather in the spring. First 5 starts, an ERA barely above 3. Then he goes on the injured list with a lat strain on April 19th. Here's his 0-2. Called strike 3. Jansen frozen there on the slider for the second out of the inning. Bayo returns a little less than a month later and has not looked the same since. Whether it's about that or not, an ERA of about 6.5 over his last 7 starts.
You've seen him get very visibly frustrated on the mound in some of those starts too, just not happy with the locations of his pitches. But I'd imagine that he's going to feel very differently, at least through the first 3 innings of this ball game, about the way that he's been able to locate the changeup in the slider. And a big piece of that too is his ability to establish the inside part of the plate with those sinkers into the righties. Now, some of the righties for the Blue Jays are swinging at pitches that definitely would be called balls, so they need to be more disciplined on that side of the plate. But if they're going to keep swinging at him, absolutely, you keep throwing those sinkers in off the plate.
First pitch to George Springer, low ball 1. First and second for the Blue Jays, 2 outs, 1-0 Red Sox, bottom of the 3rd. Toronto has 3 hits on the day, out hitting the Red Sox 3-1, but Boston has stolen a base and capitalized on some Blue Jay errors. That's why they're up 1-0. 1-0. Swing and a bouncer foul off of the inside part of the left leg of the catcher, McGuire. 1-1. Springer's 0 for 1 today, struck out looking in the second, but career 6 for 16 against Brian Bayo. That's a .375 average. McGuire still in some obvious discomfort, standing up, hunched over right now, picking some dirt out from behind home plate. Alfonso Marquez giving him a little bit of time, and now McGuire back in the crouch. Turner on second. He singled to start the inning. Farsho on first. He had a 1-out walk. With 2 down now, the 1-1 pitch to George Springer. Swing and a foul off. Bounces a ball behind him, a 98-mile-per-hour sinker in off the plate.
Yeah, that's another one of those pitches, too, in a 1-1 count even, that I don't think you should be taking a big cut at, especially with a runner in scoring position. If you make solid contact with that, it's most likely going to end up going foul down the left field line. But he looked a bit late on that swing, so it fouls off straight behind him.
Bayo sets, tan glove at his chest. And the pitch. Check swing. Called strike 3, and that's a tough one for Springer. That looks out off the plate, and he is letting Alfonso Marquez know about it. That's probably a full baseball outside, but for Springer, his second strikeout of the day. Blue Jays leave 2 on. Springer continuing to go. John Schneider and Carlos Fablis are going to get in his way, and we will take a break as we head to the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, 1-0 Red Sox. It's brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The next generation of stars is knocking on the door of the NBA.
Stolen away by Cody to the rim with a slam with 2 hands.
Who will be the next superstar to shape a franchise?
The Boston Celtics select Jason Tatum.
We're getting you ready on NBA Radio with our draft preview show.
His ceiling could be as high as anybody's in this draft.
This Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, only on NBA Radio Channel 86 or anytime you want on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues. Right now on Channel 87.
Aaron Judge drills a 3-run home run.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to our all-time fantasy baseball draft to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts. Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
Don't ever take a player that you don't intend to keep all year. Don't do it. It's terrible management.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Busted Open podcast is now available on YouTube. This is Dave LaGreca, host of Busted Open, the #1 pro wrestling show on the planet. You can now watch and listen to the award-winning Busted Open podcast every single day on YouTube. Our best interviews, behind-the-scenes access, and some of our best content from the past. All available right now when you go to youtube.com/@BustedOpenPodcast. Subscribe right now.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Radio Network.
It's the 4th inning, presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19+, play responsibly. Ontario only. Welcome back to Rogers Center. Game 3 of this series, Blue Jays and Red Sox. It's 1-0 Boston as we start the 4th. Masataka Yoshida, the left-handed hitting DH from Japan, leads off. Gausman's pitch. Fastball called a ball, and that's interesting from Alfonso Marquez, as that was certainly in the zone in the last pitch he called in the bottom of the 3rd. It certainly wasn't. 1-0.
George Springer got a tough break on that slider that was away. Definitely a ball low and out and outside, and that pitch looked clearly in the strike zone.
1-0 pitch is hit foul, 1-1.
Gausman comes right back with a fastball located a little bit higher in the zone that Yoshida decides to take a cut at.
Granted, you're going to have some mistakes.
Yes. Yeah. Still early, but can definitely change the course of an entire at-bat on some of those calls.
1-1. Pitch definitely outside. 2-1.
Even 2 for the hitters. If you're Yoshida with that first one called a ball, I don't think that's a pitch that I'd be taking in a 2-strike count. Never want to leave it up to them.
Next offering. Fouled back into the seats off to our left. 2-2. Yoshida, in his second season, signed a 5-year, $90 million contract in early December 2022. After playing 7 years with the Oryx Buffaloes in NPB. Hits the 2-2 off the mound on the ground, fielded by IKF. From the second base side of second base, he throws out Yoshida. 1 out.
IKF having to run a long way to field that one on the run. He's very comfortable fielding the ball one-handed, so you're not going to see his throwing hand anywhere near his glove when he goes to field these balls. And also, from the shortstop position, throws very much over the top. Get those throws with as much behind them as possible, even when you're on the run.
Yeah, he's no Troy Tulowitzki dropping it sidearm. He's going straight, as they probably would have taught you as a kid fundamentally. First pitch, strike to Emmanuel Valdez.
Even watching him and Ernie Clement take some ground balls before the game, 2 completely different arm angles that you're going to see. Ernie is going to throw from that sidearm angle, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa makes sure that he gets his throws over the top every time.
0-1 bounced in to the Red Sox second baseman. 1 ball, 1 strike. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. 1-0 Red Sox here in the top of the 4th. Base is empty and 1 out. Gausman set at the belt, the 1-1. Low ball 2. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every plate at your local St. Louis Bar and Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. Gausman rocks and releases. At the knees, 2-2. Over in New York, a matchup of the 2 top teams in the AL East. The Yankees hosting the Orioles. Yankees won yesterday 4-2. It's 1-1 today at Yankee Stadium. Ryan O'Hearn hit a ground rule double off Garrett Cole in the first. Gleyber Torres responded in the bottom of the first with a sac fly.
Garrett Cole back in the rotation for the Yankees.
Oh, yeah. His debut. 2-2. Fouled off to the left. It's Cade Povich, a rookie who made his major league debut in Toronto weeks ago. That's got to be nerve-wracking when you go up against Garrett Cole and, your 5th or 6th start in your major league career.
Not to mention that offense that you're having to face, too. Between Verdugo and Stanton and, of course, Aaron Judge.
2-2 outside, 3-2. Got Soto in that lineup as well. DJ LeMahieu. Full count, 1 out. Gausman to Valdez. Here's the right on left pitch. Swing and a fly ball hit high and deep to right field, and that one's way out of here. A deep shot into the second deck for Valdez, his 6th home run of this season, and it's 2-0 Red Sox.
Valdez saw a lot of pitches in that at-bat. Finally gets a 4-seam fastball about 94 miles per hour on the inside part of the plate, and he turns on this pitch. He is perfectly on time for it. 105 miles per hour off of his bat. Sent way out of here to right field to extend the Red Sox lead.
Valdez had 2 homers before this month. He's got 4 in the month of June alone. And for the Red Sox, another home run in this series. They have hit 6 home runs now in the 3 games.
For as much as we talked about the stolen bases, we should have been talking about the power in these bats for the Red Sox.
First pitch to Reese McGuire, called inside, 1-0. I mean, that's the traditional Red Sox way, is a lot more power, but they have a lineup that usually doesn't configure that way, but a huge series for Tyler O'Neill has helped them look like the Red Sox of old. 1-0. At the knees, evens up the count at 1-1. Now, all 6 of their homers this series have been solo shots. But when you hit 6, you get at least 6 runs. That's going to help you out. 1-1. Downstairs, 2-1. McGuire with 2 home runs this year. Playing the Blue Jays, the team that he debuted with for the 18th time. He's never hit a home run against Toronto. 2-1. Sliced off to the left foul, 2-2. McGuire stepping out of the box, adjusting his batting gloves, steps back in, and taps the middle of the plate. 1 out, bases empty, 2-0 Red Sox, top of the 4th, and the 2-2. Fouled in and out of the glove of Jansen. Spent a lot of time catching alongside McGuire. Can't squeeze it there to retire his former teammate. And it's still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Velocity's still up pretty well on that fastball, too. Something that you and I said we're going to be tracking from the beginning of the ball game. Still consistently up there, 95, 96 miles per hour.
2-2 again. Bounce to the plate. It's been a pretty good start for Gausman. He's only allowed 2 hits on the day. The homer that he just gave up to Valdez and a single to David Hamilton that knocked in a run that was unearned because the batter Romy Gonzalez, the runner Romy Gonzalez, reached on an error. 2-0 Boston, top of the 4th with 1 out, the 3-2. Swing and a pop-up foul into the seats, third base side.
A couple of long at-bats, though, in this top of the 4th inning. He's having to throw a lot of pitches, having to work quite a bit. Pitch count already up to 63 here in the 4th inning. And a lot of that has to do with those long innings, too, of the errors and seeing extra batters early in the ball game. Can definitely hurt you as you get into the 5th and even 6th innings.
Here's his 20th pitch of the inning. Called strike 3, 95, freezes McGuire. It's the 3rd strikeout for Gausman, and now 2 outs in the top of the 4th.
And the benefit of being able to locate that splitter and that fastball low in the zone is you can get people frozen on that location, thinking that he came back with the splitter, thinking it's going to drop down for a ball, but that one stays right in the zone, 95, low and outside to get him looking.
So a bounce back for Gausman after the homer, and now the pitch to Dominic Smith. Swing and a foul ball sent off the top of the netting, back down into the infield off the turf, 0-1. Maybe not the guy on the marquee for the Red Sox, but Smith played a huge role in yesterday's 4-3 Boston win. 2 outs in the right on left pitch. Hit in the air, high down the right field line, not very deep. Springer moving toward the foul line, makes the catch on the side warning track, and ends the inning. Red Sox double their lead on a solo shot by Valdez. It's 2-0 Boston, middle of the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Addison Barger leading off for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the fourth inning as Toronto tries to get back in this one. 2-0, the Red Sox lead Toronto. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. We're here in the Timbermart broadcast booth. Joe Ali, our host and producer tonight. Austin Mackey and Tom Young, our technical directors. For Barger, a 1-for-1 day. First Major League extra base hit back in the second as he doubled to left center. Brian Bayo in the wind and the pitch. Bouncing ball hit to the left side through the 5-6 hole into left field. It's a 2-for-2 day for Barger.
This is an example of a really smart piece of hitting, too. He had that great double his last time up, and it was on a slider, so you can pretty much bet you're not going to see that pitch early in the count. You're either going to see the sinker or the changeup. Both of those pitches moving in a similar direction at different speeds. He was a little late on that sinker, but he was still able to drive it through the 5-6 hole for another base hit. That tells me that he's very confident in his approach up at the plate.
Third time in 4 innings the Blue Jays have a leadoff runner. They've stranded 6 base runners today and haven't scored. The pitch to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, inside ball 1. IKF was hit by a pitch in the second inning. 269 hitter on the year, 29 RBIs. A peek at first. And the 1-0. Barger takes off. Pitches hit on the ground right side. Through the hole. A base hit. Barger doesn't stop. He's around second. He'll get into third. Blue Jays start the runner, and Kiner-Falefa hits a ground ball to that voided right side of the infield. And now runners on the corners with nobody out.
Right before that pitch, I was just thinking this infield is playing him to pull, but he is so good at keeping his hands inside of inside pitches and driving them the opposite direction. And that's exactly what he does on that slider. He gets in on the hands, pokes it through the 3-4 hole, and Addison Barger showing off some of that speed, rounding second, heading into third base, and runners on the corners with nobody away now for the Blue Jays.
Kevin Kiermaier about to come up, but first Reese McGuire out in front of the plate. Going to the pitch column on his right forearm to instruct the defense. In the case of a first and third steal play, IKF on first, Barger on third. Nobody out. 2-0 Red Sox, bottom of the fourth. Bayo looks at third, peeks at first, and pitches home. Swing and a ground ball up the middle, into center field, a base hit. Into score Barger. IKF trying to go first to third. He'll get there standing up. It's an RBI single for Kevin Kiermaier, and the deficit's cut in half. 2-1 Red Sox.
It's a good time for Kevin Kiermaier to be aggressive early in the count, too. He's been struggling the past couple of days within his at-bats. So Brian Bayo comes in with this sinker on the very first pitch. Got great arm side run to that pitch. But Kiermaier takes it right where it came from, straight back up the middle to score Addison Barger.
Blue Jays finally cash in and have an opportunity to make a decent inning out of this. Still first and third, nobody out. Kiermaier's on first now, IKF on third, and Spencer Horwitz up 1-for-2 today. Right on left, Bayo's pitch. High and outside, ball 1. The Blue Jays have been really aggressive to start this inning. That was just the 6th pitch of the inning thrown by Bayo.
And when a pitcher's out there and trying to get ahead, it doesn't matter which pitch it is, but you want to be aggressive, try to take some of that feeling of comfortability out there on the mound.
Turn and lob over to first. Pardon me, that was the 5th pitch of the inning by Bayo. Barger swung at the first one. IKF took one, then hit the next one, and then Kiermaier swung at the first pitch. So the Blue Jays had 3 hits in 4 pitches.
And when you notice that he's getting ahead consistently 1-2, 0-2, why not go up there and be aggressive, knowing that he's going to throw you something good early in the count?
Bayo's 1-0. Patient Horwitz takes looks a little outside, but they call it a strike, 1-1. Bello today with 40 strikes and 14 balls in his 54 pitches. He has been all in the zone.
Very efficient with all three of his pitches. That changeup, the slider, and, of course, that sinker.
A peek at first, the 1-1. Inside, Horwitz jumps back and then falls forward over the plate, 2-1. 3 RBIs in 9 games for Spencer Horwitz. But putting the ball in play and getting on base has been his thing so far. He's been on base now 16 times in now his 9th start. 2-1. Kiermaier takes off from first. Pitch outside. McGuire throws through to second. Not in time. Kevin Kiermaier steals the base. That was a close one, and the Red Sox are at least going to think about it. But for Kiermaier, for now, it's his 5th stolen base of the year.
Good throw from McGuire back behind the plate. Kiermaier was started pretty close to first base, so he had to get an exceptional jump to make it in. And after you're looking at it here, it looks like he definitely made it into second base on time. That left hand just tagging the bag right before the tag was applied.
So second and third, nobody out. Infield in and a 3-1 count to Horwitz. Bello back into the windup, the pitch. Outside, ball 4. That loads the bases with nobody out.
And I imagine if you ask John Schneider right now, he could not draw up this inning any better. We talked about it earlier when Justin Turner led off the 3rd inning, that he wanted him to come up with people on base. And how about the bases loaded for Justin Turner now coming up in the bottom of the 4th with nobody out?
Former All-Star closer Andrew Bailey, the pitching coach for the Red Sox, out for a visit, gives us a second to go to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. This is the last one against the Red Sox in this series for the Blue Jays. They go to Cleveland next, and today Cleveland is wrapping up a series with Seattle. Josh Naylor started the scoring for the Guardians, an RBI single in the 1st inning. Naylor added his 18th home run of the season in the 5th inning, a 2-run shot that made it 6-0 for the Guardians. That's where it stands right now at Progressive Field in Cleveland. It's 6-0 over Seattle. Our out-of-town scores brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. The former Oriole, Met Dodger, and Red Sox, now Blue Jay, Justin Turner, up to the plate. Bases loaded, no outs. Middle infield back, corners in. Bello facing the plate, he's in the windup. Turner today is 1 for 1, a single, and he's been hit by a pitch. Bello winds and offers. Down and away, ball 1. Justin Turner, a career .333 hitter with the bases loaded, 3 grand slams. 1-0. Outside, ball 2. And now Bello in a very precarious situation.
You can tell by those first 2 pitches, both of them sinkers, that he's trying to stay away from that slider. That's the pitch that he got the base hit on in his last at-bat. But he's just missing way outside with the sinker.
2-0 is hit on the ground to short. Picked up there by Hamilton. Goes to second, 1 over to first. A double play. A run will come in to score. Kiner Falefa scores. And it is a 2-2 game, but that does quash the rally a little bit now as there are 2 outs and Kevin Kiermaier's on third.
Looks like Justin Turner just pulls off of this pitch. Gets the top half of the baseball, so he pounds it straight down into the dirt. And it does feel like took the air out of the sails a bit with all the momentum that they had got going with the bases loaded, nobody away, but it still does bring a run across. And another opportunity now for Vladdy with a runner in scoring position.
Guerrero looking for his first RBI in a while. He's gone 11 straight without knocking one in. A single would do it as Kevin Kiermaier's on third, and now a 2-2 game with 2 outs, bottom 4. Bello's pitch. Swing and a line drive center field, hit right at Gonzalez, who leaps up and makes the catch. That ball tagged, but hit to the wrong spot, and that will end the 4th. Blue Jays come up with 2 runs on 3 hits and tie the game 2-2 after 4 innings. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hear what happens when over 70 of the biggest names in talk, sports, and entertainment press play on their favorite songs and share the stories behind them.
It's about the pain and misery of someone breaking up with you and then moving on with someone else.
Hear exclusive guest DJs from Howard Stern, Kate Hudson, Kevin Hart, Max Crosby, and many, many more.
Take it to the floor now.
Find them all in the SiriusXM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89. Or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game. Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Aaron Judge drills a 3-run home run.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to our all-time fantasy baseball draft to helping you prepare for your fantasy football drafts. Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
Don't ever take a player that you don't intend to keep all year. Don't do it. It's terrible management.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
The fifth inning is brought to you by Desjardins Financial Group. Desjardins awarded another $150 grants worth $20,000 each to entrepreneurs across Canada. See how Desjardins cheered on small biz at goodsparkgrants.ca. New ball game as we start the fifth. 2-2 Blue Jays and Red Sox. Bottom of the order leads it off for Boston. Romy Gonzalez to hit first with Jaron Duran and David Hamilton following. Kevin Gausman stretches his arms above his head, steps onto the rubber. Blue Jays in their City Connect night mode jerseys. The pitch. Fastball, strike one. Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Gonzalez was the first run scored for the Red Sox today. Right on right, the 0-1. Down and in. Center fielder hit a ground ball to third, reached on an error by Addison Barger, and eventually scored on the David Hamilton single.
Just had to catch that very hard hit line drive off the bat of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to end the last inning.
1-1 pitch hit softly to third, charging in Barger, gloves, and throws him out easily at first. 1 out.
It's a tough break for Vladdy on that swing, too, because I thought it was a really good swing. He knew he was going to get a sinker. It was much more on the plate than the sinkers that he had swung at earlier in the ball game. Just happened to go straight to Gonzalez in center field. Those are the times where it can be very frustrating as a batter because you have a good approach, you have a good swing, you're on time for it, and you're still not able to walk away with the results.
Guerrero moved to 0 for 3 with that lineout. Here's the pitch to Jaron Duran, and it's hit well right center field. Going back, Kiermaier stopping at the track. See you later into the WestJet flight deck. A mammoth homer for Jaron Duran to give the Red Sox the lead back. It's 3-2 Boston.
A couple of at-bats in a row for Jaron Duran where he just was not able to square anything up, and he got a first pitch slider out of the hand of Kevin Gausman, and he does not miss. This one's over the middle of the plate, a little bit lower in the zone, but that's exactly where Jaron Duran wants it. He wants something that he can get his hands extended on, and that thing was absolutely crushed out to center field.
433 feet. First pitch to David Hamilton is hit down the left field line, foul, 0-1. Let's go over to the injury report, brought to you by Bergmanis Prera, personal injury lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count and call Bergmanis Prera, personal injury lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Prera will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca. First, the 0-1. Hamilton takes in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out, base is empty. 3-2 Red Sox, top of the 5th. John Schneider saying today that most likely Yariel Rodriguez will be activated and start for the Blue Jays on Friday in the opener against Cleveland. 1-1. David Hamilton lines it up the middle, a base hit into center field. Schneider did say that it wasn't for sure. It could depend on some things that happened today, but more than likely that Yariel Rodriguez makes that start.
And I think the question was, is Yariel Rodriguez going to get the starter? Are they going to go more to the bullpen type of day that we've seen recently? And Trevor Richards has been really good in that opening role. Of course, Bowden Francis has had some good, really long outings too, but it sounds like they're going to go back to their traditional starter with Yariel Rodriguez.
Slide step and a pitch to Tyler O'Neill, called strike one. Haven't seen Rodriguez since early May. That could be a big boost for the Blue Jays.
Could be a big boost for the bullpen, too, if you can get more of that traditional starting rotation and get Trevor Richards and Bowden Francis back in their usual spots.
Throw over to first Hamilton, who's 19 for 20 stealing bases this year. Dives back in safe. Guerrero holding on Hamilton. One out. Canadian Tyler O'Neill at the plate. 0-1 pitch. At the knees for strike two on the inside edge. John Steiner also asked about Joey Votto, who's played a couple games in the Florida Complex League for the Blue Jays. His first action since taking one at-bat in all of spring. And he said the reports are good, feeling good physically. Low A is coming up for Votto. 0-2. In the dirt, blocked by Danny Jansen, who scrambles after it, keeps Hamilton at first.
It's a really nice job by Danny Jansen. He had a really nice frame on the pitch before getting that called strike low and inside to Tyler O'Neill, and then this pitch down in the dirt on the opposite side of the plate. He's been so good at blocking those balls down in the dirt this year. Keeps Hamilton at first.
Leads Major League Baseball in blocks above average at 10. 1-2 pitch. Low of the zone, 2-2. You had mentioned the bullpen. The last thing, Jordan Romano still long tossing, not getting off a mound today. He's going to hang back, John Schneider said, when the team goes on the road and hopefully get on a mound over the weekend. Gausman standing on the rubber, kicks and fires, and the pitch fouled off. To be honest, I'm shocked we're 5 pitches into this at-bat and Hamilton hasn't taken off.
I thought he would have just went ahead and taken off on the first pitch, especially with the way that he's been able to steal bases at will. It looks like he's thinking about it. Definitely wants to. He keeps creeping further and further off of first base.
He's leaning towards second, looking at Gausman. And a throw over to first. Hamilton back with a dive. That's the second check of this plate appearance by Gausman, so Hamilton can get even a little bit more aggressive if he wants.
Looks like Vladdy's trying to mess with him a little bit at first base, too, faking a couple of throws back to Kevin Gausman. But Hamilton stayed right on the ground in that same diving position until he made sure that Vladdy actually threw the ball over to Gausman.
Vladdy facing second as he holds on Hamilton, and now O'Neill will ask for time. Kick the barrel a couple times, wipe some dirt off the top of it, and step back in. Hulking right fielders 0 for 1 with a walk. 3-2 Red Sox, thanks to the Duran homer a moment ago. Back-to-back hits for Boston has Hamilton on first. 2-2, Hamilton does take off. Swing and a miss, strike three. Throw down to second late. Hamilton nearly came off the bag, but keeps his left foot on. It is a strikeout for Gausman for the second out of the inning, but now 20 stolen bases on the year for David Hamilton.
It's a well-located splitter, too, to get that strikeout, and that was one of the biggest things John Schneider said, is he didn't want the pitchers to be so worried about the stolen bases that it took away from the execution of their pitches. It's a great pitch down in the zone, down and inside, and Danny Jansen did everything he could to try to pop up as quickly as possible and get that throw down to second base. But just too good of a jump by Hamilton at first.
Especially when you're in this part of the order, you got to pay attention to O'Neill and now Rafael Devers. But first to spin and throw to second, Hamilton back with a dive. 3-2 Red Sox, 2 outs, top of the 5th inning. Hamilton on second and Devers at the plate. Devers is 0 for 2, has grounded a couple balls to second base. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike one. Hamilton with the lead. Infield shifted to the pull for the lefty hitter, so IKF holds him on, creeping in between the bag and the runner. Pounds the glove once, and the pitch from Gausman. Down and away at 97, his hardest of the day. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's gotten Devers both times over to first base, both of them on splitters. and he's starting this at-bat with a couple of fastballs, four-seam fastball for the first strike, and then that sinker missing low and away.
1-1 pitch in the dirt, a sliding block off the chest by Jansen, slid behind the back of the left-handed hitter Devers. That's a really nice block, but it's 2-1.
It's an extremely athletic move, too. After those back-to-back fastballs, the splitter he's trying to locate low and inside to Devers as Danny Jansen was set up more on the outside part of the plate, had to move a long way over to keep that ball in front of him.
Jansen sets up a little bit outside to the left-handed hitter Devers. Turn and throw to second. Hamilton was way off, but he dives back in. And that's the second check of this plate appearance, the fourth time that Gausman has thrown over on Hamilton in this inning.
Hamilton even lost his helmet as he dove back into second base. A pretty close play. We've seen the Blue Jays do that quite often this season, those pickoff plays over to second.
Hamilton moves back near the bag as IKF comes in a little bit and backs up to the edge of the dirt. 2-1. Swing and a bouncing ball to second base. Horwitz gobbles it up, throws over to first, and ends the inning. Red Sox take the lead back. 1 run on 2 hits. It's Jarren Duran's solo home run that makes it 3-2 Boston, middle of the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Embrace the power.
That is bold. And speed of the NTT IndyCar Series on SiriusXM.
Joseph, you got it. Wins the Indy 500.
The season rolls on Sunday evening at 6 Eastern
at the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey.
That was sweet.
Nice job, guys. From the green to the checkers.
Flies under the twin checkers.
Hear every thrilling lap live on IndyCar Nation Channel 218, NBC Sports Audio Channel 85.
Alex Malone. Thank you so much.
And on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM.
Let's go, man!
We're back on the track Sunday,
1:30 p.m. Eastern.
It's the USA Today 301
from New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Yeah!
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Yeah!
Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer! Yeah!
You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball. You love yelling at your buddies about baseball because they love baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, and much, much, much more. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hey, baseball fans, the 2024 NBA Draft begins on June 26th, and NBA Radio is your home for all the action. Hear every pick on NBA Radio, Channel 86, and the all-new Sirius XM app.
And the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 5th inning in downtown Toronto, a close one, 3-2. The Red Sox lead the Blue Jays in Game 3 of this series. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. We're here in the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Middle of the order for the Blue Jays as they try and tie this one up. Dalton Varsho, Danny Jansen, and George Springer will hit for Toronto. Blue Jays scored 2 last inning against Bayo and had a lot of traffic. Here's the first pitch to Varsho, down and in, ball 1. Toronto with 6 hits on the day against the righty. A walk and 2 hit batters, 1-0. Outside, 2-0. Since June 5th, the Blue Jays entered today hitting .350 with runners in scoring position, best in Major League Baseball, but yesterday they struggled. Today they have so far, too. Varsho takes the 2-0 for strike 1. Toronto 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. It's the Kevin Kiermaier hit that goes down as the lone Blue Jays hit in those situations. 2-1. Varsho backs up as that pitch misses off the plate inside. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Going to keep circling that 4th inning because that just felt like there was an opportunity to score more than just the 2 runs that they ended up getting across in the 4th. Of course, you're thankful for just the 2.
3-1 pitch is popped up, middle of the infield. The shortstop Hamilton makes the call, veers to the right side of second base and squeezes it. 1 out. In that fourth, the Blue Jays get first and third, nobody out. RBI single, so 1 run in, and still first and third, nobody out. A walk loads the bases with nobody out, and they only scored 1 more run after that.
It was the Justin Turner double play, too, that just completely changed the inning. Of course, it brings in that run, but you could tell his frustration as he ran off of the field, too, knowing that that was their opportunity to capitalize more than just 1 additional run in that inning.
Danny Jansen swings and misses to start his at-bat. He's 0 for 2 today. 1 out, base is empty, and the right-on-right 0-1. Low. Brian Bayo, the 25-year-old, winds and delivers. Check swing, pitch outside, appeal down to first, and they say he went around, says Lance Barrett. From up top, didn't look that way, but again, he's got a better angle than we do.
I started to write down in my scorebook that I thought that was a ball and had to double check when he called that one a swing. I thought that he held up on that.
Bayo leans back, and now the 1-2. Swinging a chopper to third on 1 high hop, backhanded by Devers. Crow hops, throws to first. 2 down. Let's take a look at the St. Louis Bar and Grill out of town scoreboard, where the Baltimore Orioles are well on their way to knotting up, or to rather just beating the New York Yankees 4-1. The Orioles are leading the Yankees in the 5th. Ramon Urias hit a 2-run homer to start the top of the 5th. Ryan O'Hearn with an RBI double as well. Orioles chased Garrett Cole out of the game after 4 innings. In his season debut, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs. First pitch to George Springer, hit foul, 0-1.
Still recorded 5 strikeouts in those 4 innings, but it's pretty funny to say that it's an un-Garrett Cole-like start for him, giving up those 2 earned runs.
Out of town scores brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Springer swings and misses at the 0-1. Springer 0 for 2 today. Pair of strikeouts looking. Down, no balls, and 2 strikes. Rung up on a very controversial call to end the third, his last time up. 0-2. Swing and a drive, left field, on the run. Duran, it's over his head and bouncing into the wall. Springer around first. Duran picks it up, tosses it back in, but a head first dive by the Blue Jays right fielder into second. He's got a 2-out, 2-strike double to extend the frame.
Struck out looking back in the 3rd inning on that slider that looked like it was going to miss low and outside for called strike 3. Well, in this at-bat, he got 3 straight sliders, and this last one just hangs right over the middle of the plate, and George Springer makes Bayo pay for it. He's out in front, drills that thing to left field, dives in safely to second base for a 2-out double.
Hardest hit ball for Springer in a week. He hits that ball 107 miles an hour, and now at 2 for 2, Addison Barger can tie the game up with a base hit. 3-2 Red Sox, runner on second, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. Bayo's pitch. Barger takes strike 1. Addison Barger is quickly shifting his overall stats. He is 6 for 12 since returning to the team a couple days ago. This is 4th game since being back. The 0-1. Outside.
Biggest difference that we've seen is that he just looks so much more comfortable in the box, almost like he's not trying to prove himself every single at-bat, but very confident in his takes, even that changeup outside, not really flinching at that, and realizes that it's a ball straight out of the hand.
1-1. Outside again, 2-1. That one way outside on the slider. Ryan Bayo goes to the rosin bag after that big miss, wipes his right hand on his pants, and walks back up the hill. Now Bayo will step off. 2 RBIs on the season for Addison Barger. Left-handed hitter points his 2-tone bat up toward the sky. Now brings it high above his shoulder. The next pitch inside, ball 3, and it's a hitter's count at 3-1. Springer on second after the double. 2 outs, 3-2 Red Sox, bottom of the 5th. Bayo sets, glove above his belt, looks at second, and the 3-1. Swing and a fly ball right field, but playable for O'Neill. Backpedaling, he stops about 10 feet in front of the track and makes the catch to end the inning. A double for Springer with 2 outs. He's left on second. Still 3-2 Red Sox after 5. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart Deferred Payment Program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in-store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
We're 2 men in a truck. The movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
The hardest work should lead to the best quality of life. If you're a skilled trades worker, you might not be feeling that way right now. But in Alberta, skilled trades workers can earn more, save more, and live more with better wages and a lower cost of living. Visit albertaiscalling.ca to learn more about the $5,000 moving bonus for the first 2,000 skilled trades workers who move to Alberta, stay for a year, and successfully apply. A message from the Government of Alberta.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
In time! What a play, Bo Bichette!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 6th inning in Toronto, 3-2. The Red Sox lead the Blue Jays. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Kevin Gausman back out for his 6th inning of work. He faces Masataka Yoshida, Emmanuel Valdez, and Reese McGuire. 3 left-handed hitters here in the 6th. All in all, it's been a fine day for the 6'2" right-hander. 4 hits allowed, 3 runs, but only 2 of them earned. Gausman adjusts the front, then the back of his cap. And his pitch to Masataka Yoshida. Left-handed hitter loops a ball to left field for a base hit.
Another one of those fastballs that he just threw, 91 miles per hour on that pitch to Yoshida. Gets jammed up on it, but gets enough on the barrel to just drop it out into left field. Gets underneath on that swing, but Yoshida's going to take it.
First hit of the day for the DH and left-handed hitter. Now Emmanuel Valdez, who homered in the 4th, comes up here in the 6th with a runner on first. 3-2 Boston. Gausman kicks and fires. Outside, ball 1.
I'd imagine that they're going to try to stay outside with that splitter, and even with those four-seam fastballs, keep him more on the outside part of the plate, because Valdez hit a four-seamer that was inside last time out of the park for a solo shot.
1-0. Go high of the zone and miss. They were looking for the upper and outer part. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Gausman's pitch count rising in the mid-80s. Here's his 2-0. It's outside, ball 3.
With that pitch count going up, already some action in the Blue Jays bullpen too. Zach Pop getting up and getting loose out in left field.
It's been a number of days since the Blue Jays have used Pop. 3-0. In there for strike 1. Last time we saw Pop was just for 2 pitches on Saturday. Pitched back-to-back days on Friday and Saturday, but threw 8 pitches total and hasn't pitched since. Turn and throw to first. Yoshida back in with a dive. Gausman stretches his arms above his head, steps on the rubber. Looking in at Valdez, who pinwheels the bat twice and brings it above his left shoulder. 3-1. Valdez takes top of the zone strike, full count.
That's the part of the zone that he's been trying to locate with the fastballs throughout this at-bat. The first 3 balls of this at-bat, all of them on that four-seam fastball up and away, finally clips the top part of the zone.
Gausman in the set. The payoff pitch. Fouled off to the left. That one sent way up into the sky. Gray skies now. It's gotten cloudy in downtown Toronto as we're approaching 9 Eastern.
Definitely much cooler than it was earlier today.
Absolutely. Temperature at first pitch, 31. It says 28 now, but it feels a lot cooler than that. 83 Fahrenheit. 3-2. Outside ball 4. Missed arm side with the slider, and runners on first and second. Nobody out here in the 6th.
The first 6 pitches of that at-bat were all four-seam fastballs. Tries to throw that splitter on the last one, and it just gets away from him.
That'll prompt a mound visit from Pete Walker to talk to Gausman and to give Zach Pop some time to get loose. Gives us a second to go over to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, where Josh Naylor has done it again after Bo Naylor singled to make it 7-0 Cleveland Guardians. Naylor makes it a 2-homer day with his 19th of the year, a solo homer. It's 8-0 Cleveland over Seattle. Blue Jays and Guardians start a series coming up on Friday, a weekend set in Cleveland, Ohio.
And nobody will be surprised to hear that Stephen Kwan has recorded another few hits, including a home run in that ball game.
Kwan is having a ridiculous year. He's batting .397 as it stands right now.
Just seems like there's nothing he can't hit at this point. You could probably bounce it on the ground and he's going to find a way to get a base hit out of it.
He's missed some time, but it's the middle of June and he's still around 400. Mound meeting over. Corners in for the Blue Jays. Reese McGuire coming up. Vlad and Barger expecting a bunt. Middle infield back. First and second, nobody out. 3-2 Red Sox, top of the 6th. Gausman's pitch. McGuire squares and pops it up on the run. Barger makes a sliding catch in foul territory. That's a big first out.
The entire infield playing in, just expecting that they're going to see that bunt. And this is a great play by Addison Barger because he had to run a long way into foul territory to make a grab on this. It's a sliding grab moving over to his right in foul territory towards that third base dugout. Immediately pops up just to make sure nobody's going to try to tag on him. But that's a great way to get momentum back onto Kevin Gausman's side with that big out.
McGuire was looking for a sacrifice, but he's only done that successfully once this year and 14 times in his career. He can't get it done. Here's Dominic Smith, first and second, 1 out. Gausman's pitch. Down and in, ball 1. Last time Smith came up, mentioned briefly that he played a surprisingly large role in yesterday's game. Smith had 2 hits. He had an RBI single in the second inning to start the scoring. And then in the 8th, he came up with a 2-out knock in a tie game. He got pinch run for, and David Hamilton stole a base, came in to score the eventual winning run. 1-0. Swing and a fly ball deep right center. Springer sprinting back near the track, slowing up. Kiermaier back there, leaps and makes the catch. Tagging from second, Yoshida slides into third, but Kevin Kiermaier coming out of nowhere to make a highlight reel play and steal extra bases from Smith. 2 outs.
Off the bat, I thought this was going to be a double. No chance for Kevin Kiermaier, but he gets such a good first step out there in center field. A great read off of the bat, and he goes all the way back to the wall in center field, makes the leaping grab, runs into the wall, and then immediately turns and fires back into the infield. That was an incredible catch by Kevin Kiermaier.
Yoshida advanced, so after that great catch, it is first and third. But 2 outs in the 9-hitter. Romy Gonzalez is up. 0 for 2. He reached on an error and scored in the third. The pitch. Inside, ball 1. That's brought a new buzz back into the ballpark here as Gausman looks to get through 6 innings. Pop's been warming up throughout this top of the 6th. It's 3-2 Red Sox. 2 on, 2 out. The 1-0. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Pop is now sat down, though. And Tim Meza is getting loose for the Blue Jays. Well, pardon me, Pop is still up, but he's not really thrown. Gausman kicks and fires. Gonzalez hits it softly right side on the ground. Long run Horwitz, and he just knocks it down in the hole, but he had no play A weak infield single brings in Yoshida from third. It's 4-2 Red Sox.
Almost a little bit of bad luck on that ball put into play. All three pitches that Gausman threw to Gonzalez in that at-bat well off of the plate inside, and he gets so jammed up on this ball that it actually shoots the opposite direction deep into that 3-4 hole. Horwitz tries to make a play on it, but I don't think he even had a shot, even if he fielded it cleanly, to get that out at first base.
Jansen is going to go out and talk to Kevin Gausman. Jarren Duran is about to hit. And it looks like, for now at least, the Blue Jays are going to leave Gausman in. He's allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned. But a run now in each of the last 4 frames. The unearned run in the 3rd, then homers in the 4th and 5th. A 2-out run here in the 6th. Then John Schneider is coming out to the mound to make a change. Tough luck at the front end and the back end of it for Gausman, who is going to be taken out of this game after 5 2/3 and 97 pitches. The Blue Jays go left on left with Jarren Duran as Tim Meza is called out of the pen. Applause for Gausman. 4-2 Red Sox, 2 outs, top of the 6th. Let's go to baseball control with today's host, Show Ali.
Thank you very much, Ben. And before we check the out-of-town scoreboard, another reminder that we do have Jays Talk this evening. Blair and Parker have the post-game show. They will take your calls. Jeff will throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out. All right, let's check the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. The early returns for MLB All-Star voting are in. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and his new hairdo, leading all AL first basemen in votes. Orioles' Ryan Mountcastle is currently in second place. The gap is pretty close, all things considered. So if you want to ensure he or any other Blue Jays make it to the All-Star game in Texas next month, you can vote at bluejays.com/vote. The Stanley Cup playoffs will continue after last night's thrilling game between the Oilers and Panthers. Maybe less thrilling if you are a Panthers fan, but either way, after a 5-3 win in Game 5, Game 6 is now scheduled for Friday at Rogers Place, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sportsnet and the CBC. Should be a pretty fun one. Elsewhere in hockey, the trade winds are blowing. Teams not waiting for the Cup final to be over with. The NHL draft, which is actually next weekend, if you can believe it. First, the Calgary Flames trading goaltender Jacob Markstrom to the Devils. They're getting back defenseman Kevin Ball and a top 10 protected 2025 first-round pick. Calgary will retain 31.25% of Markstrom's remaining contracts for the next 2 years. And another trade today saw forward Pierre-Luc Dubois get dealt from the Los Angeles Kings. He will now play for the Washington Capitals. It was a 1-for-1 deal, no salary retained. Capitals sending back goaltender Darcy Kemper. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Here's Ben Schulman and the Madison Shipman at the Rogers Center.
Thank you very much, Show. Tim Meza into the game for the Blue Jays. 4-2, the Red Sox lead now after a 2-out squibber base hit by Romy Gonzalez. First and second in this top of the 6th, and Meza enters to take on left-handed hitting left fielder Jarren Duran.
And Tim Meza's had a rough few last outings, one of them coming in Game 1 of this series against the Red Sox, where he came in the 7th inning, ended up giving up 3 hits and 2 earned runs. Gave up a base hit to Rafaela and a base hit also to Jarren Duran, who he's going to start off this relief appearance against.
Meza from late May to early June had 5 scoreless, hitless appearances, but has given up multiple runs in 2 of the last 3. 32nd appearance of the year starts now, an ERA just above 6 for the lefty. Meza comes set, looks out at second at Emmanuel Valdez, and the pitch to Jarren Duran is a sinker on the inside edge, 0-1. Duran extended his hit streak to a career best now 10 games, snapping a tie with the hit streak he had earlier in the year. He has 6 extra base hits in those 10 games, as well as the last hit he had was a homer, a 1. Downstairs.
That home run he had was off of Kevin Gausman, and you and I looked at each other after we saw that pitch go out of the park and just getting beat on a slider. I would have rather gotten beat on a splitter. Even the 4-seam fastball, maybe something away, but with that slider breaking into the barrel of Jarren Duran, that's exactly where he wants that pitch.
Meza throws another sinker low, 2-1. And for Gausman, that's really the 3rd pitch. And just left it over the plate to Duran, and Duran did not miss it. A 433-foot blast to give the Red Sox at that time a 3-2 lead, now 4-2 as Mesa finds the zone with another fastball, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 on and 2 outs against Jaron Duran. Duran will ask for time. Adjusts his white batting gloves. Black lightning bolts on the backs of each hand for Duran. Left fielder steps back in. Mesa on the rubber. Third base side. Nods and comes set at the belt. A peek at second, the 2-2. Swinging a bouncing ball up the middle, a base hit into center. Around third base, Valdez coming to the plate. Kiermaier will toss it back into the infield. It's an RBI single for Duran. It's now 5-2 Boston.
After 4 straight sinkers in that at-bat to Duran, we saw the first slider out of the hand of Tim Mesa, and Jaron Duran takes it straight back up the middle. This is a slider that's about middle height, but it's on the outside part of the plate, and he's been so good at driving the ball the opposite way. He keeps his hands inside, hits it right back up the middle for another Boston run.
That'll be a run on the line of Kevin Gausman, who's still responsible for Romy Gonzalez on second. The runner Duran on first is Mesa's. Here's a left-on-left pitch to David Hamilton, who cuts and misses. 0-1. Hamilton's 2 for 3 today. He has an RBI single that came back in the third, also singled and stole a base in the fifth. The 0-1, both runners take off. Called strike, throw to third, not in time. Romy Gonzalez gets in there at third. Duran up to second. And the Red Sox steal their third and fourth bases of the day.
Another good jump by the Red Sox, too. Taken off from second base was Gonzalez, diving head first into third. And Addison Barger tried to keep that tag applied because they're moving so fast into the bases, especially when they dive. It's almost as if for a split moment, maybe their hand comes off of the base, but he was able to stay on safely. Both runners now over into scoring position with 2 away.
Training staff onto the field briefly. They're taking a look at Hamilton. I didn't see anything, but he must have winced or something. Hamilton did exit the first game of the series with left side discomfort. Left-handed hitter, though, back in. Alex Cora and Brad Pearson, the head athletic trainer, checked on him for a moment. Second and third, 5-2 Red Sox. 2 outs in the 2-strike pitch. Hooked foul. Right side. Still 2-2. Or still 0-2. Taking a look at the replay of 2 pitches ago, Hamilton tensed up a little bit after his swing.
It was right after the follow-through. Just took a second that looked very uncomfortable, which is why immediately Alex Cora came out of the dugout.
0-2. Swing and a fly ball to right, hit right at George Springer. Doesn't even move a step, makes the catch, and ends the inning. The Red Sox, though, add to their lead. 2 runs on 3 hits, 5-2 Boston, middle of the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Yamanika Saunders, and you can listen to my new show, On Topic with Yamanika, on Kevin Hart's LOL Radio, Channel 96. It was important for me to have a platform to express myself. I am a black woman in America, and I come from a very personal and very specific POV and opinion. I want to have a place where people like me can give you another perspective, and then you figure out what you want. Check me out every day, 3 p.m. on the East Coast and noon on the West Coast. On Topic with Yamanika on Kevin Hart's LOL Radio, Channel 96.
The most important person in sports is you, the fan.
Let me tell you something. I'm a real fan.
And your place for sports talk is Mad Dog Sports Radio, where your voice is heard all day long.
I couldn't wait to get into the truck, turn on 82.
Sharing the thrill of victory.
The joy, the jubilation. I can't stop smiling.
And the agony of defeat.
When is this franchise going to realize people really care about this?
Passionate sports fans call 888 Mad Dog 6.
You gotta love sports.
Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, or anytime on the Sirius XM app.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody! This is Steve Phillips from the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. Join me and former Major League Baseball players Eduardo Perez and Xavier Scruggs as we react to all the latest news and scores across baseball and have plenty of fun along the way.
Steve, you were so right about that.
I don't know if anybody else thinks we're funny, but I think we're funny.
Why are you putting us or we into this?
The leadoff spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the Sirius XM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. We're here at a loud Rogers Center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Blue Jays fans trying to will Toronto back into this game. Red Sox scored 2 in the road half of the 6th, and Boston has a 5-2 lead as Isaiah Kiner-Falefa leads off against Brian Bayo.
Got to try to get something going here in the 6th inning, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa can be the guy that can do it for the Blue Jays. I've always appreciated this season his adjustability in his swing and the way he's able to make adjustments on that pitch on its way to him.
First pitch to IKF is called strike 1. Kiner-Falefa had a hit and scored the Blue Jays' second run in the 4th. It was 2-2 at that time before the Red Sox scored 3 straight to make it 5-2. Next pitch, another called strike. IKF 1 for 1 today, was also hit by a pitch. 0-2. Down and away.
Feels like Brian Bayo's almost picked up the pace in which he releases each pitch, too. He doesn't take a lot of time in between each pitch, gets down to about the 10-second mark on that clock.
1-2. Low, 2 balls, 2 strikes. In another sense, time running out probably on Bayo, who's above 80 pitches. They have Justin Slayton warming up. 2-2. Swinging a chopper just over the mound. Fielded head high, backhanded by Valdez, the second baseman who throws to first and gets the first out.
One of those sinkers out of the hand of Bayo that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa just rolls over, doesn't get all of this pitch. Close play over at first, but everything's going to be pretty close with the way that he's able to move down the line. Valdez had to charge that one, throw it on the run for out number 1.
Here's Kevin Kiermaier, has the lone base hit with runners in scoring position for the Blue Jays today. 1 for 2 with an RBI single in the 4th. He takes strike 1, a slider down the middle. For Kiermaier, it was his 10th RBI of the season, the hit in the 4th. 0-1, swing and a miss. Goes back to the slider, but this one low of the zone. Kiermaier swings over top of it, 0-2. Bayo on the mound, leans forward, now stands tall. A bit of a longer look in, and the wind, here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gets him on the change, a 3-pitch strikeout, 2 down.
Kiermaier got that hit on the first pitch of the at-bat on a sinker back in the 4th inning, and so this at-bat he doesn't see anything close to the sinker. He sees back-to-back sliders and then goes with the changeup down and away to get him swinging.
2 outs here, and Bayo 1 out away from probably his best start since returning from injury mid last month. First pitch to Spencer Horwitz, called strike 1. Horwitz 1 for 2 with a single and a walk.
The efficiency, too, in which he's been able to throw everything for strikes today stands out.
A 1 pitch hit on the ground softly to first. Underhand flip, Smith back to Bayo. And that's 6 innings of 2-run ball for Brian Bayo. He sets down the Blue Jays very quickly in the bottom of the 6th, and we'll go to the 7th. Boston up 5-2. Yenesis Cabrera coming in. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
So Blue Jays fans, you want to know about salsa? Salsa is more than dancing. It's more than music. Salsa is the passion and spirit that is at the core of the beautiful cultures of Latin America. The Blue Jays are bringing salsa to the ballpark. On June 27th, be one of the first 15,000 fans in attendance and receive a Blue Jays chip and dip bowl. Celebrate salsa and create core memories with your Blue Jays. It's salsa night. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com. Right, Vladdy?
Everybody salsa.
Bring it in, Canada. When it comes to small business, Desjardins is a big fan. And not just the hop-on-the-bandwagon fan. We're the in-it-for-the-long-haul fan. The fan that's been there from the start. That's why Desjardins awarded 150 entrepreneurs with Good Spark grants worth $20,000 each. Because like any fan, there's nothing we love more than celebrating a goal!
See how Desjardins is cheering on small business at goodsparkgrants.ca.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timbermart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timbermart Deferred Payment Program. your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your TimberMart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
I give you the world, but there's other planets too.
Hola, soy Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Está escuchando a Toronto Blue Jays Baseball en la radio de Sportsnet.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to downtown Toronto, where the roof is closing slowly at Rogers Center. Some dark clouds overhead as the top of the seventh starts with Genesis Cabrera on the mound for the Blue Jays. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. It's 5-2 Red Sox over Blue Jays. Tyler O'Neill leading off for the Red Sox. 3-4-5 for Boston. Devers and Yoshida to hit this inning as well. Left on right, a first pitch strike to O'Neill on the slow curve. Sinker, cutter, curve change for Genesis Cabrera, making his 30th appearance of the year. ERA at 4.5. 0-1. On the inside edge with the cutter, 0-2.
Tough task for Cabrera coming into this ball game too, with the lefty-righty matchup going up against Tyler O'Neill, who has done some serious damage against the Blue Jays in this series.
0-2 pitch. Swing and a pop-up. A mile high middle of the infield. Horwitz standing just behind the second base bag makes a catch. And there's one out.
It's a big out to start off this seventh inning, too, for Cabrera, knowing that O'Neill may have a little bit of an advantage with the lefty on the mound, and he throws a fastball up in the zone. O'Neill goes after it, and he just misses, gets right underneath that pitch. That fly ball hung up in the air for an extremely long time. Horwitz had to move a little to his right, a little to his left, dance around a bit, but was finally able to come away with that catch.
So that's the one right-handed hitter retired. Now Rafael Devers up. Left on left the pitch. Down and in with a 97-mile-per-hour sinker, 1-0. Unusually quiet day for Devers. He's 0 for 3 today, 3 groundouts, all to the right side. 1-0. Fouled back.
Devers definitely had some difficulties recognizing the splitter out of the hand of Kevin Gausman. All 3 of those ground balls came on that splitter. Could be that last-minute bite that it has, not just down in the zone, but away from his barrel as a left-handed hitter as well.
Usually can't keep Devers down for long, though. He is now the cornerstone of this franchise, as they've moved on from Betts and Bogarts in the last couple years. 1-1. Hit on the ground, off the mound, up the middle, backing up IKF into shallow center, throws to first, and beats Devers for the second out.
Nice play by IKF, practically out there in center field. That might be the lowest arm angle I think I've ever seen him throw from, but he had no other choice but to throw it from that angle, had to get rid of it, turn his feet completely around the opposite direction towards first base to be able to make a play.
So a quick start to this frame for Cabrera, who's looked good as of late. 4 scoreless appearances with only 1 hit allowed in his last 4. First pitch to Yoshida, swing and a miss on the cutter, 0-1. And a big thing for Cabrera, who's walked a good handful this season. In this appearance, 6 strikes, 1 ball, and 7 pitches. 0-1. Popped up off the handle, third base side foul. Barger gives it a look, but that drops 7-8 rows behind the third base dugout. Foul ball, 0-2.
The efficiency in which you throw strikes is important for no matter when you're coming into the ballgame, if you're starting or if you're in a relief role, but especially for the guys coming out of the bullpen. You want to establish strikes early, show that you're not going to dance around that strike zone and force the batters to have some pressure on them early.
Bounces the cutter down and away on 0-2. Yoshida lays off, so it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I even think back to last season. It didn't happen very often, but the times that the bullpen struggled last year was when they started to rack up that walk rate, and people were getting a lot of free passes. But when they're able to keep those down, that's when you're going to start to see more efficient outings.
1-2. Swinging a fly ball out to left. Playable for Varsho. He's back in front of the track and squeezes it to end the inning. We go to the 7th inning stretch after a 1-2-3 frame by Yenisys Cabrera. It's 5-2 Red Sox at Rogers Center. Justin Turner will lead off next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2menintruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2menintruck.ca. So when you gotta move, I'll move them day. Think 2menintruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2menintruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
The hardest work should lead to the best quality of life. If you're a skilled trades worker, you might not be feeling that way right now. But in Alberta, skilled trades workers can earn more, save more, and live more with better wages and a lower cost of living. Visit albertaiscalling.com.
Hey Insiders, TSI Mike here. Thank you for coming back for another Toronto Blue Jays game. Every single Blue Jays game is live right here on Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you all for being here. Do not forget to hit that like button down below. We got to get these like button numbers up with these Blue Jays games. Get more fans in the chat. You see what it does in those hockey games? Let's do the same thing here with the Blue Jays games. Thank you all for being here. If you're new, hit that subscribe button as well. Turn on that little bell so you get notified every single time we go live here on TSI. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys in the chat, and go Jays go.
Struck out 6. It's the first time he's gone as many as 6 and given up 2 or fewer since his injury in late April.
He looked really good with all 3 of his pitches. He threw 88 pitches tonight. 60 of those were thrown for strikes. It just felt like the deeper that he was getting into the ball game, too, the more efficient he was at getting ahead in the count against the Blue Jays.
Justin Slayton kicks and delivers to Justin Turner, called strike 1. So now Slayton into the game, 26th appearance of the year. Earned run average around 3. 37 strikeouts to 6 walks in under 36 innings. 0-1. Swinging a liner, left center field. Base hit. It's a 2-hit day for Turner.
First pitch of this at-bat was that four-seam fastball coming in around 96 miles per hour, and Slayton goes with the cutter at 91 up in the zone, and Justin Turner turns on this one, hits it out to left center field for a leadoff single.
Second time that the Blue Jays have seen Justin Slayton in this series. He's got a cutter, a sweeper, that hard four-seamer you mentioned, and an occasional curveball. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. up 0 for 3 today. The pitch. Swinging a liner, headed to left field. That's another base hit. 2 hops and into the glove of Duran. Up to second Turner, Guerrero at first, and the tying run will come to the plate in the form of Dalton Varsho.
Vladdy had seen nothing but fastballs this entire ball game, and Slayton starts him off with a sweeper that just hangs up in the zone a bit. Vladdy gets more on top of this pitch, hits a hard line drive out to left field. It's another hard single off of the bat of Guerrero Jr.
Guerrero putting on the sliding mitt, taking off his batting gloves and giving them to Mark Budzinski at first. Here's Varsho, 0 for 2 with a walk. Team leader in home runs with 11. Slayton peaks at second. The pitch. Called strike on the outside edge. Varsho's last home run was the grand slam that he hit 3 days ago against Cleveland. 0-1. Just a hair high at 98. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Reese McGuire not liking that call back behind the plate. Immediately shook his head as he saw that pitch was going to be called for a ball. Looked like it just barely missed outside of the strike zone, but definitely a pitch that Slayton wants to be called.
Right on left, the pitch. Swing and a miss. Tied him up with a 94-mile-per-hour cutter, 1-2.
Those are some of the swings now coming from the left side, but we saw primarily from the right side hacking at those fastballs that are clearly off of the plate inside.
2 on, nobody out. And the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 97 middle in. Varsho goes down. It's a first out of the day for Slayton and the first out in the bottom of the 7th.
First swing and miss was on that cutter, and then he brings the velocity up just a little bit more with that 4-seam fastball. So Dalton Varsho very late on that swing on the 97-mile-per-hour pitch.
Still first and second. Now Danny Jansen represents the tying run for the Blue Jays. 5-2 Red Sox, bottom of the 7th. It's Turner on second, Guerrero on first. Slayton, the righty, kicks and fires. In the dirt, ball 1. Slayton originally picked by the Texas Rangers in the 3rd round in 2019 out of the University of New Mexico. Rule 5 this December by the Mets and traded to the Red Sox for a minor leaguer in cash. 1-0. Swing and a fly ball center field. Backs up Gonzalez, but he's got room in front of the track. He's under it and makes the catch. Turner tagging from second will advance to third. There are 2 outs, runners on the corners now for Toronto, and George Springer coming up.
It's another one of those innings where the Blue Jays are able to get a couple of runners on with nobody away and just not able to consistently put together quality at-bats. Those strikeouts just have been huge, and they are total rally killers because you're not able to advance any runners over. Justin Turner was able to advance to third on that fly ball off the bat of Danny Jansen, but still, if Dalton Varsho would have been able to just put the ball in play even, that could have been a sac fly.
Now the Blue Jays need a run-scoring hit, or at least some way for George Springer to get on here. First and third, 2 down. The pitch. Foul tipped off the glove of the catcher, McGuire. 0-1. Toronto is 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position today. Out hitting the Red Sox 9-7, but trailing in the game 5-2. McGuire stepped in front of the plate to give some instructions to the infield in case Guerrero takes off from first. Vlad does have 2 stolen bases in 2 attempts this year. Held on by Dominic Smith. Right on right pitch to Springer. High, and it pops out of the glove of McGuire. Turner comes in to score, and Guerrero advances to second. That was a high pitch, but that could go down as a pass ball for Reese McGuire. It's a 5-3 game on the gift.
That pitch looked like it hit him square in the glove. I'm not sure how that ball even popped up out of his glove, but the Blue Jays are going to take it either way. This is one of those 4-seam fastballs up, and it just hits off of the thumb portion of that catcher's mitt, pops straight up in the air, goes behind him, and Justin Turner is able to jog safely into home.
They do rule it a pass ball. So now a runner on second, 5-3 game. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Springer takes down and away. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike.
Not exactly the way that you drew it up, but you're going to take the run either way. You'll take that gift that the Red Sox just gave them.
A look at second, and they have a pickoff play on. Guerrero had it down easily. He dives back in way ahead of the throw.
Vladdy's always having a good time out there on the field. He just posed after he dove back safely into second base.
He's trying to help the Blue Jays rally back into it. A single for Guerrero this inning, 1 of 2 hits, and a run scored by the Blue Jays. 5-3 Red Sox. 2 outs. The pitch to Springer. Swing and a miss. Behind a perfectly located cutter on the outside corner, 2-2.
George a bit out in front on that swing, too. Looked like he was gearing up for that 4-seam fastball, but instead it was that cutter moving away from his bat.
Slayton sets. Kicks and fires. Bounce down and away. Full count. Waiting on deck is Addison Barger. Archer's 2 for 3 today with a double. Springer is 1 for 3 with a double. Infield shifted to pull. Second baseman Valdez up the middle. Hamilton deep in the hole at short. Guerrero on second, 2 down. Bottom of the 7th, 5-3 Red Sox. And the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the sweeper to end the inning. The Blue Jays score a run on 2 hits and cut the deficit to 2. It's 5-3 Red Sox with 2 innings to play. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Copa America kicks off Thursday, and you can hear all the top soccer stars from North and South America in action on Sirius XM. The U.S. men's national team goes toe-to-toe with elite competition, including Brazil and defending champion Argentina.
It's Messi! It's always him!
Hear every Copa America match, plus expert analysis, all tournament long on Fox Sports 83 and Sirius XM FC 157, or listen anytime on the Sirius XM app.
While you're listening to this game on Sirius XM, we're talking about the latest odds and prop bets for this and every game on Sports Grid Radio.
The under's minus 125. Heavy juice to the under.
Every home run hit and every strikeout thrown can change the line.
I can't for the life of me figure out how you can favor a team that never wins, ever.
If you're looking for sports talk centered around the latest odds and prop bets for games, races, tournaments, or any sporting event, Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159.
This is Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum and host of the Sirius XM original podcast, Black Diamonds. Hear stories about the legends of the Negro Leagues and conversations with the all-time greats they've influenced, like 5-time World Series champion Derek Jeter.
I don't care what race you are. You need to know your past. This is U.S. history. It's not just baseball history.
Hear over 70 episodes of the award-winning Black Diamonds podcast, available now on the Sirius XM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You want baseball? The doggy has you covered. Tune in to Mad Dog Unleashed for the best baseball coverage anywhere. Weekdays 3 to 6 Eastern. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Work.
8th inning in downtown Toronto. Blue Jays trying to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Red Sox, trailing Boston 5-3. Welcome back to Rogers Center. The roof is almost closed here in Toronto. They're still getting it closed up with rain potentially a little bit north of the city. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Blue Jays score 1 in the bottom of the 7th, and now in the top of the 8th inning, we'll go to the right-hander, Ryan Bird, making his 3rd appearance for the Blue Jays this year.
At the offense, it just feels like they keep getting these opportunities, especially in this ball game, and things are not going to go your way if you're waiting for the other team to make a mistake, because that's the only way that they were even able to get a run across last inning.
First pitch to Emmanuel Valdez, called strike 1. Blue Jays scored on what was then called a pass ball, but now has been changed to a wild pitch. Either way, they had not a ton to play in terms of how they scored that run.
I'm still keeping it as a pass ball in my scorebook. I know that doesn't count for anything.
0-1 pitch hit foul, 0-2.
I think if you ask McGuire, too, that's something that he has to catch or at least keep in front of him. But, of course, the Blue Jays are going to take the run, but that was another spot where if you just strung together quality at-bats, put something hard in play, could be a completely different outcome. And we've seen that several times now just in this game alone.
Blue Jays had first and second to start the 7th, end up with 1 run, no hits after those 2 singles by Turner and Vlad. Now Burr's 0-2 in the dirt, 1-2. Ryan Burr acquired recently in a trade with the Philadelphia Phillies. Spent last little bit in AAA. Most recently pitched for the Blue Jays on the 3rd of June. 1-2. Swing and a chopper, first baseline foul. Burr called back up yesterday, was part of the moves that sent Bo Bichette to the injured list. Elvis Martinez came up, and then they also sent Brandon Eisert down and called up Ryan Burr. Fastball slider for the righty. The slider is really his bread and butter pitch. 1-2 to Valdez. Left-handed hitter yanks it to right field on a line. A base hit. 2 hops it into the glove of Springer. 3rd time aboard, 2nd hit of the day for Valdez.
Valdez had already seen 3 sliders in that at-bat, and he got another one on that last pitch, and he just drops his barrel on a pitch that probably would have been called for a ball, low in the zone. but he's able to get enough extension on it, drive that thing out to right field, making that look easy on that pitch.
So now Reese McGuire up. Corners in, and the pitch. Slider on the outside corner, strike one. They're watching for the bunt, but McGuire asked to sacrifice in the sixth. Popped up a bunt, foul territory, third base side, and Barger made a play on it.
And it was a pretty good pitch to bunt, too. It was a fastball away, but he got his bat underneath that pitch, popped it up to Barger.
0-1. Swinging a liner, right field. That'll be another base hit. Almost identical to Valdez's. Fielded on two bounces by Springer, who zips it back into IKF. First and second, nobody out.
And the key for these lefties hitting off of a right-handed slider, which is both of the pitches that they've hit for base hits now to right field, is making sure that you're not trying to overswing and crush it out of the ballpark, and they're just getting barreled right to that pitch. Line drives out to right field, back-to-back base hits now for Burr to start off this inning.
Burr has been tough on lefties at AAA this year between Lehigh Valley and Buffalo. They only hit .216 against him. But this is now a third left-handed hitter in a row he's got to face in Dominic Smith. First and second, no outs. And the pitch. Swing and a fly ball right center. Kiermaier trying to track it down. It's over his head, and it one hops into the wall. Coming around third, Valdez will score. McGuire had to slow up because he almost passed Valdez, who was waiting to see if it landed. So McGuire stops at third, up to second Smith. It's an RBI double. It's 6-3 for Boston. Second and third, nobody out.
It's another example of smart hitting by Dominic Smith, too. After both lefties before him both got base hits on the slider, you can pretty much guarantee he's not going to throw that first pitch to Smith, and instead he comes in with that four-seam fastball. It drills it out to center field. Kiermaier did everything he could to try to make a catch on this, but it bounces over his head, off of the wall. He picks it up barehanded to throw in. Well, that's going to be an RBI all day.
Smith had a double taken away from him last time. Not this time. Now second and third, infield in. First pitch to Romy Gonzalez. Hit foul on the ground. Picked up by Kyle Hudson, the third base coach for Boston. 0-1. So after the Blue Jays get a run in the seventh, Boston responds immediately to reestablish the 3-run lead. Smith on second, McGuire on third. Burr with a breath and the pitch. Swing and a fly ball center field. Coming in Kiermaier. Tagging at third Smith. Catch made by Kiermaier. McGuire tags, but dekes and ends up going back to the bag. A shallow fly ball for the first out.
Kiermaier came up charging on that shallow fly ball. Don't think that there was any intention for McGuire to take off on that after he realized how far Kevin Kiermaier was coming in to make a catch on that one. First out of the inning, but still two runners over in scoring position.
With the Blue Jays trying to keep this one manageable, John Schneider is going to walk out to the mound. Burr spikes the rosin bag. Gave up 3 hits in his first 3 batters. Did get 1 out, but that'll be his day. Here comes Zach Pop out of the bullpen. 6-3. The Red Sox leading the Blue Jays. Second and third, 1 out, top of the 8th. Let's go to Baseball Control. Your show, Ali.
Thank you very much, guys. And before we check the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, another reminder that we do have J-Stock this evening. Blair and Barker have the post-game show. They will take your calls. Jeff will throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out down at the Dome. All right, let's check the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. In hockey, lots of trades today, oddly because the Stanley Cup final is not yet over, but still, the NHL draft is actually next weekend, so GM's working the phones. So first, the Calgary Flames trading goaltender Jacob Markstrom to the New Jersey Devils. The Flames getting back defenseman Kevin Ball and a top 10 protected 2025 first-round pick. Calgary will retain 31.25% Markstrom's remaining contract. So New Jersey will get a $4.125 million Markstrom for the remaining 2 years of that deal. If you want to hear Calgary GM Craig Conroy, you can actually listen to Flamestock. They had an exclusive interview with him earlier today. Another trade saw forward Pierre-Luc Dubois get dealt from the Los Angeles Kings. He will now play for the Washington Capitals. It was a 1-for-1 deal, no salary retained. Capitals sending back goaltender Darcy Kemper. And from yesterday, if you missed this in Vancouver, the Canucks re-upping the deal with Philip Hronek. He was a restricted free agent and will now stay on the West Coast with an 8-year, $58 million contract extension. And the Euro is officially underway. So yesterday, Portugal and Turkey both winning. Today, Germany won 2-0. Scotland, Switzerland was a 1-1 draw, and Croatia, Albania was a 2-2 draw. Tomorrow, Slovenia, Serbia, Denmark, England at 3 p.m. Eastern, Spain, Italy to wrap up the day. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Back to the action. Zach Pop on the mound. Here's Ben Schulman and Madison Shipman.
Thank you, Show. Brampton's Zach Pop into the game for the Blue Jays, trying to keep this one close. 6-3. Toronto trails Boston right now. The Red Sox with 3 hits and a run this inning and still threatening. Second and third, one out. Pop has to face the top of the order in Jarren Duran. 22nd appearance of the season for Pop, a .512 earned run average in just over 19 innings pitched. Right on left, Pop kicks and fires. Swing and a miss, strike one.
It's a good example of what you're going to see from Zach Pop, that 96-mile-per-hour sinker on the outside part of the plate. I definitely stay away from anything that's going to break into the barrel of Jarren Duran, because back-to-back hits now, both of them on sliders, one from Kevin Gausman, the other one from Tim Meza, of course, breaking the other way.
0-1 pitch, another sinker outside, 1-1. The other 2 pitches for Pop are arm side moving pitches in a cutter and a slider, but he's going to throw that sinker a ton. Righty leans forward, now comes set at the belt. The 1-1. Foul tipped into the glove. 3 straight sinkers, and he's ahead 1-2.
Well-located pitch, and as a batter, too, you almost have to anticipate the movement that pitch is going to have on it. And for somebody like Duran, have to see how much depth it's going to have on it, but also the way that it's going to run away from his barrel.
Infield all in on the edge of the turf. McGuire on third, Smith on second. 6-3 Red Sox, top of the 8th, 1 out. The pitch. Swing and a foul ball hit in the air into the second deck off to the left. Red Sox have scored in 5 of the last 6 frames. A run in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2 in the 6th, none in the 7th, but now 1 in the 8th. 1-2. Down and in.
It's a good spot for that slider. If you do have to throw anything on the inside part of the plate, you want to bury it low and in, see if he'll chase it, something that's definitely a ball. And that's exactly where he put that last slider.
Duran 2 for 4, a single, a homer, a stolen base. 2-2. Swinging a bouncing ball to second. Runner coming to the plate. Horwitz throws home. Tag play, and they get McGuire. Well executed by Spencer Horwitz. A fielder's choice for Duran. A 4-2 out at the plate. And now runners on the corners. And 2 out. Still 6-3 Boston.
The entire infield was definitely playing in, trying to cut down that run, and this was a ground ball hit pretty sharply to Horwitz, but a really good throw to Danny Jansen. Applies that tag in plenty of time. A nice play by Horwitz over at 2.
And they just clearly had the contact play on for McGuire, who left right away.
He was taken off immediately as soon as that ball was put into play, and sometimes you take a risk. You want to try to put that pressure on the defense to have to execute perfectly. And luckily for the Blue Jays, Horwitz was able to do exactly that.
Still 2 runners for Pop to deal with. First and third, 2 outs. Here's David Hamilton, left-handed hitting shortstop. The pitch. Just outside, ball 1. Hamilton is 2 for 4 today. 2 stolen bases, 2 singles and 1 stolen base. First base side of the rubber, Pop set, the pitch. Outside again, 2-0. It's been a huge turnaround for David Hamilton, who after his first 18 games of the season was batting a flat 200 and was struggling with errors, made 4 of them at short. He's batted well over 300 since and has his season average up to 290. 2-0. Swinging a pop-up behind the third base dugout, out of play.
biggest adjustment for Hamilton this season was to prioritize his contact and utilize his speed and his athleticism, and that's something that we've seen on display not just when he's running the base paths, but also up at the plate. That dynamic ability from the left side, just constantly putting pressure on not just the pitchers, but the defense to have to make a perfect play.
Yeah, Alex Cora said before game one of this series, it's less fly balls and it's more line drives for David Hamilton. 2-1 pitch, hit on the ground off the end of the bat into the third base dugout. Pops back out onto the turf, 2-2. And he's part of this somewhat surprising Red Sox team, picked by many to be the fifth place team in this division preseason. A lot of young players having impressive years despite a ton of injuries for Boston. First and third, 2 down. 6-3 Red Sox, the 2-2. Duran takes off from first. Jansen wanting to hold the pitch and frame it there will let Duran steal second, prioritizing a chance at his strikeout. So now second and third, 2 outs and a full count.
I think one of the big reasons, too, why the Red Sox didn't have extremely high expectations coming into this season either was because of how young their starting rotation was supposed to be, and then you tack on the injuries that they've had to deal with throughout the season.
3-2 pitch hit on the ground to first, off the heel of the glove for Guerrero. That's going to score a run. They do have the runner hung up in between third. Dominic Smith, Guerrero zips a throw to third, now to the plate. They have him in a rundown. Back to Guerrero. He's chasing Smith to the plate, flips to Barger, who tags him and ends the inning. But the fumbled ground ball brings in another run to this inning for the Red Sox, who lead 7-3, middle of the 8th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
When Blue Jays starter Kevin Gausman is on the mound, you hear a lot of pops at Rogers Center. The pop of the ball hitting the catcher's mitt. The pop of the crowd as they cheer on another Gausman strikeout. But most importantly for Goss, the pop of his bubble gum.
Swing and a miss, got him on the splitter again. One of the best at his craft.
Gausman loves his gum, so be one of the first 15,000 fans on Wednesday, July 3rd, and get your Kevin Gausman bubblegum bobblehead. Get your tickets at BlueJays.com.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
Summer is about to sizzle. Wow! City TV has the brand new season of America's Got Talent.
We've never seen anything like this before.
Watch them go for gold.
That was sensational!
We weren't expecting that. On the hunt for the next superstar.
Everything that you think there's no way to top it, this season tops it.
America's Got Talent. All new Tuesdays, 8, 7 Central on City TV. Or stream it on City TV Plus.
For this life I cannot change. Hitting hills, deep off in the main.
This is George Springer, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 8th in downtown Toronto. The Red Sox now with a commanding 7-3 lead over the Blue Jays after a 2-run top half of the inning. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. The Blue Jays look to rally here to try to avoid being swept for the first time this season. Second inning of work out of the pen for Justin Slayton, Addison Barger, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and Kevin Kiermaier scheduled to hit this inning for the Blue Jays. First pitch to Barger. Inside, 1-0.
I don't know about you, but I'm almost having flashbacks to last season in the Blue Jays against Boston, where they were swept by Boston in the first 2 series, and then at the end of the year ended up sweeping Boston for the last 2 series of the year.
1-0. Call it strike, 1-1. If the score ends this way, it is pretty crazy to think that a matchup could have 5 sweeps in a row. Red Sox won the first 7 last year before the Blue Jays won 6. 1-1. In the dirt, 2-1.
This game for the Blue Jays, too, really just has been sloppy pretty much in every facet of the game, but especially on the defensive side of things. We really haven't seen them rack up this many errors in the same game, but there's been a lot of uncharacteristic defensive errors that have led to runs for the Red Sox.
4 errors in the game for the Blue Jays. Most recent one brought in the 7th run for Boston. 2-1 pitch. Swing and a broken bat. Soft liner to third. Caught by Devers. Barger retired, 1 out. So 1 down. Here's Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. A single, a hit by pitch, and a run scored. Slayton, the righty, sets and delivers. Called strike at the knees, 0-1. Really strong start to this homestand for the Blue Jays. Lost game 1, but then won 2 in a row to beat a tough Cleveland Guardians team in a 3-game set. IKF pops up the 0-1. Right over the mound. Rafael Devers calling for it. Just behind the mound, makes the catch. 2 outs. Then Toronto gets a tough starting pitching performance to start this Boston series from Yusei Kikuchi, who gave up 5 in 4 innings. They lose game 1. They're leading much of game 2, although they missed some opportunities to score, and the bullpen gives it up. And today they've squandered a lot on offense, and like you've said, they've made a lot of errors on defense too. It's really been a tough one all around.
A lot of errors, and the bullpen has given up some more runs again today.
First pitch to Kevin Kiermaier, cut on and missed, 0-1.
Kevin Gausman maybe didn't have his best stuff. The biggest mistake, I think, was throwing that slider to Jarren Duran, who he just hammered out of the park. But other than that, did a pretty good job of keeping them in this ball game, giving them a chance to win.
Called strike, and it's 0-2.
At times, I often wonder if some of the frustrations that they felt offensively can spill their way over defensively. It seems like maybe that's something that had happened today in today's ball game.
2 outs and the base is empty. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Down on a breaking ball that bounced in front of the plate. A strikeout for Slayton to end a 1-2-3. Bottom of the 8th. We go to the 9th. 7-3 Red Sox. Bowden Francis about to come in. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hey friends, Ted Danson here, and I want to let you know about my new podcast. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name, with me, Ted Danson, and Woody Harrelson. Sometimes. Doing this podcast is a chance for me and my good bud Woody to reconnect after Cheers wrapped 30 years ago. Plus, we're introducing each other to the friends we've met like Jane Fonda, Conan O'Brien, Eric Andre, and trust me, it's always a great hang when Woody's there.
Listen to Where Everybody Knows Your Name on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's Brian Geltzeiler from SiriusXM NBA Radio. The NBA draft begins on June 26th, and we're your home for all the action. Hear nonstop coverage on all our shows.
Mark it down. That guy is going to be a star in this league.
Exclusive interviews.
We are now joined by Bronny James.
I just found happiness in what I'm doing right now, and I feel like that's where I want myself to be at.
And every pick on the big night.
With the first pick.
Your home for the 2024 draft is NBA Radio, Channel 86, and the all-new SiriusXM app. Just search NBA Radio.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
In season or out of season, the number one place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Video Network.
Ninth inning in downtown Toronto, 7-3. The Red Sox lead the Blue Jays. Bowden Francis into the game for Toronto. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Madison Shipman. Thanks so much for sticking with us. Blue Jays in danger here of getting swept for the first time this year. They'll go to Francis in the 9th. He's their 6th pitcher used today.
Francis threw back on Saturday, threw 68 pitches. I thought he looked really good in that ball game against the Guardians. Has added that splitter to his arsenal this year. It seemed to have worked really well for him against that really tough Guardians offense.
Here's his first pitch to Tyler O'Neill. Outside with a fastball, 1-0. Fastball, curve, splitter, and slider for Francis, who, it's not set in stone, but you can essentially pencil in Yariel Rodriguez to start Friday with the fact that Francis is pitching right now.
Yeah, that was my question coming into today, was whether or not Bowden Francis was going to be available to come in relief, and we're getting our answer here in the ninth.
1-0. Slow curve, called strike. Gets a break on a pitch a little outside, 1-1. O'Neill looking back shockingly at Alfonso Marquez. He's got a point. That pitch was outside. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a fly ball, left field. Going back, Varsho at the track, at the wall, and he makes the catch back to the wall. Nearly a fourth home run of the series for O'Neill.
I mean, just inches away from hitting it into that bullpen. Dalton Varsho pretty much with his back up against the wall in left field. That was a four-seam fastball at the very top of the zone, and O'Neill, so strong in his swing, gets the bottom half of the baseball, gets that carry and the backspin on that ball. Almost carried right out of the park.
It's been fun to watch O'Neill over this series as Devers takes high 1-0. One of the top Canadian players in the game and an upcoming free agent in the next free agent class. Rafael Devers won't be a free agent for a while. He's in the middle of a 10-year deal. 1-0 pitch up and in, 2-0, $313.5 million that he signed in January of 2023. In fact, he'll make money for 20 years out of it because there's deferred money. $75 million is deferred that will be paid out from 2034 to 2043. As Devers swings and misses to make it 2-1. So he's going to be comfortable for a while.
Yeah, I'd say he's pretty set for the foreseeable future for Rafael Devers. He's been a big piece of this organization and hasn't done much today against the Blue Jays.
Pops up the 2-1 back of second. Horwitz into shallow right. He gives way to Springer. No, he makes the catch as Springer, who you could hear calling it all the way from here, runs into him. Springer pats him on the back. Both are okay. And there are now 2 outs.
A couple of those balls now that Horwitz has ended up catching. Remember the one that was in the infield between him and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa? He was pretty much camped underneath this ball, but typically the outfielders have the right of way in those situations because they're going to have a better read on it. You could hear Springer calling that one, but it ultimately ends up being Horwitz that catches it.
No harm done as there are 2 outs, and Francis working quickly starts Yoshida off with a curveball for strike 1. No Kenley Jansen available for the Red Sox tonight after pitching back-to-back days. Not a safe situation anyway. Chris Martin up in right field as the 0-1 runs inside. Nearly hit Yoshida. 1-1. 7-3 the Red Sox lead. 2 outs, bases empty. Top of the ninth. One. Slow curve, hits the outside edge to get Francis ahead 1-2. It'll be the top of the order for the Blue Jays coming up in the 9th inning. Horwitz, Turner, Guerrero. 1-2. Down and away. Through the slider and missed. Two. Broken bat liner caught at first by Guerrero. It's a 1-2-3 for Bowden Francis. Blue Jays need 4 to keep the game going as we go to the bottom of the 9th. 7-3 Red Sox. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza, and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
He dives, and he made the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Ali with you at Baseball Control. Jays trail the Red Sox 7-3 as we head to the bottom of the 9th at the Rogers Center. Don't forget, we do have Jays Talk tonight. Blair and Barker have the post-game show. They will take your calls. Jeff's here at Baseball Control with me. He will throw the numbers to call after the final out. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Jays trail the Red Sox 7-3, bottom 9 at the Rogers Center. Here's our very own Ben Schulman and Madison Shipman with the call.
Thank you very much, Joe. I can imagine it'll be an interesting Blue Jays talk. Although still time to decide this game. 3 outs for the Blue Jays to work with. They trail 7-3 as Chris Martin enters for the Red Sox. Martin, the right-hander, off the injured list on the 18th in a move that sent Cooper Criswell down. And now the veteran righty reliever, 38 years old, 6'8" from Arlington, Texas, takes over for his 21st appearance of the season.
From Chris Martin, you're going to see a combination of a 4-seam fastball, a cutter, and a splitter. Going to throw that cutter about 92, 4-seamer coming in about 95 miles per hour.
Martin was putting together a pretty solid year until his most recent appearance, which hurt his numbers a little bit. On May 30th versus Detroit, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs in an inning. Blue Jays need 4 runs in this ninth if they're going to keep the game going. It is the top of the order. Spencer Horwitz hitting the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Horwitz with a single and a walk in this game. Right on left, the 0-1. Fouled back, 0-2.
Back-to-back cutters from Martin trying to jam up Horwitz on his swings. Both of them on the inside part of the plate. That last one way up and inside.
Horwitz asks for time. Now steps back into the box. Martin on the rubber. And his 2-strike pitch. Swinging a liner, sinking in right center field. It's down for a base hit. Horwitz is aboard for the 3rd time today, and the name of the game right now for the Blue Jays is base runners. He's done his job to start the 9th.
He's done such a good job in that leadoff spot for the Blue Jays, just finding a way to get on base, whether it's with a base hit or earning a walk. This time he goes after a splitter that's at the bottom part of the zone, drops barrel, and drives it out into that right center gap.
Another guy who's been on a ton in this series, Justin Turner. 2 for 3 today. A pair of singles, a hit by pitch, and a run scored. The pitch. Called strike on the inside edge. Turner and Martin, former teammates, not just with the Red Sox last year, but in 2022 when Martin spent the second half of the season with the Dodgers as well. Righty's 0-1. Hit foul down the right field line. And again, Martin gets ahead, 0-2. Runner on first, no outs. A little surprised Dominic Smith is kind of half holding on Horwitz, although he is now walking off the line as Horwitz takes his lead. 0-2. Swinging a foul tip. Dominic Smith at first is probably 2-3 steps off the bag, and as the pitch is delivered, moves even closer to second.
It's almost as if him and Horwitz are taking steps towards second at the same time on that secondary lead.
I'm just wondering why even pay attention to the runner up 4 in the 9th.
With this much of a lead, I wouldn't be worrying about whether or not Horwitz is going to take second base.
0-2. Foul tipped into the glove, snow-coned but held onto by McGuire. A strikeout for the first out at the bottom of the ninth.
And maybe he's sticking more closely to first base because of where they're going to pitch Justin Turner in that at-bat. Every single pitch that Justin Turner saw was on the inside part of the plate, whether it was the four-seam fastball or that last one was a cutter way up and inside.
Fair point. Could be kind of two birds with one stone there. Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 1 for 4 today with a single. Runner on first, one out, the pitch. Inside, ball 1.
They've pretty much kept Vladdy on the inside part of the plate as well, so Dominic Smith still staying over there at first base. Maybe he likes playing in that position, but a lot of movement too. He's having to run a couple of steps to get into the proper fielding position by the time that Chris Martin delivers it.
Next pitch, Guerrero, I think feels that he was quick pitched there by Martin, shaking his head, taking all the way as 96 delivered in the zone, 1-1. Martin set, and the 1-1. Swinging a fly ball down the right field line and deep into the seats. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runner on first, 1 out. 7-3 Red Sox, bottom 9. The 1-2 is chopped over the mound. Martin stumbles and barehands it, throws off his back to first, and gets Guerrero. Chris Martin is now on his knees on the mound. He tumbled back down the back of the mound, and he is still on one knee right now as the 38-year-old is checked on by Alex Cora.
An extremely awkward play for Chris Martin because that ball was not hit very sharply off of the bat of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but he went to take a couple of steps back and ended up falling backwards on the backside of that mound, caught it with his bare hand with his right hand, and from his back throws the ball over to first base in time to get Vladdy out. But they're definitely still out there checking on him to make sure he's okay because it was a hard fall on the backside of that mound.
Pretty remarkable he made that play. Guerrero was running out of the box.
I don't know how he was still able to track that baseball as he was falling backwards behind him. An incredible grab, a nice throw from his back. He made the grab on that one similar to what Ernie Clement was trying to do on that foul ball yesterday when he slipped over by that camera well. Tried to catch the ball as he was laying down.
Now Martin and out away from finishing off his sweep for the Red Sox. Would be the first time the Blue Jays are swept this year. First pitch to Dalton Varsho. Upstairs, ball 1. Can hear some "Let's Go Red Sox" in the ballpark. Been a big couple days for Boston sports fans. Celtics locking up the NBA title 2 days ago. 1-0 pitch is lifted to left. This will do it. Durant into left center, makes the catch, and ends the game. The Blue Jays lose 7-3, swept at home by the Red Sox in this 3-game set.
Yesterday was definitely a close game for the Blue Jays. Yusei Kikuchi didn't get off to a great start in game 1. This one, no part of the game for the Blue Jays was clicking today. Not the defense, not the pitching, and not the hitting. They had some opportunities early in the ball game to try to get some more runs across, even getting the first couple of runners in the inning on board, but it was the unproductive outs, a couple of strikeouts, even a double play in there. Offense not able to get going. That with the bullpen giving up a couple of runs, and that's ultimately how you end up getting swept at home against an AL East foe.
Blue Jays fall in this one. An off day coming up before a series in Cleveland. We're going to take a quick step aside. When we come back, we'll wrap this ball game up and send it over to Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker. Stick around. 7-3, the Red Sox win. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
in Canada. When it comes to small business, Desjardins is a big fan. And not just the hop on the bandwagon fan. We're the in it for the long haul fan. The fan that's been there from the start. That's why Desjardins awarded 150 entrepreneurs with Good Spark grants worth $20,000 each. Because like any fan, there's nothing we love more.
And is cheering on small business at goodsparkgrants.ca.
This is...
Hey Insiders, TSI Mike here. Thank you for coming back for another Toronto Blue Jays game. Every single Blue Jays game is live right here on Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you all for being here. Do not forget to hit that like button down below. We got to get these like button numbers up with these Blue Jays games. Get more fans in the chat. You see what it does in those hockey games? Let's do the same thing here with the Blue Jays games. Thank you all for being here. If you're new, hit that subscribe button as well. Turn on that little bell so you get notified every single time we go live here on TSI. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys in the chat, and go Jays go.
Looked pretty good through the first 3 innings of the ball game. Of course, he ended up getting tagged for an unearned run in the third. That's where the defense started to play a factor for this ball game for the Blue Jays. But it was a couple of solo shots that he gave up, the one to Manuel Valdez and that slider that he gave up to Jarren Duran. Not the pitch that I would want to get beat on if I'm Kevin Gausman, especially to somebody like Jarren Duran who's coming from the left side, and he unloaded on that one. But really it came down to the sloppy defense and the offense not being able to come away with some timely hits.
Gausman ended with 5 2/3, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Brian Bayo scattered 7 hits, 11 base runners in 6 innings, only giving up 2 runs. The Blue Jays left on 6 runners without scoring in the first 3 innings. Bayo would pick up the win to go to 7-4. Gausman with the loss to go to 5-6.
And that's the difference between these two offenses. When you look at the Red Sox and they have some of that power in the middle of their order, they get a couple of home runs. On the flip side, for the Blue Jays, they have to string together quality at-bats. They have to put together base hit after base hit, or even find just a way to get on base. It's going to take more quality at-bats for them to score runs than it is for a team like Boston, because they're able to leave the park.
The Red Sox end up scoring 7 runs today on 10 hits, no errors, and 7 left on base. 3 runs on 10 hits for the Blue Jays, 4 errors, and 9 left on base. Again, Bayo with the win, Gausman with the loss. No save recorded in this game. Chris Martin does return from the injured list and pitch a scoreless 9th inning. A near 3-hour game. The Blue Jays played it in front of almost 39,000 in Toronto, but they lose, get swept. They go to 35-39. The Red Sox win their 40th of the year. They're 40-35, and the Blue Jays will get a day off before starting a series with the Guardians. Madison, a lot of fun to work with you on this weekend. It was a pleasure. We'll have you back pretty soon coming up.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
And Chris LaRue will return for the upcoming series with Eric Smith joining him on the radio as well for the series in Cleveland. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Blue Jays fall to the Red Sox 7-3. We'll be back on Friday as we think Yariel Rodriguez takes on Carlos Carrasco for the first of 3 in Cleveland at 7:10 Eastern on Friday. Enjoy the day off and don't go anywhere just yet. For our technical directors, Tom Young and Austin Mackey, our host and producer, Show Ali, and my partner, Madison Shipman, I'm Ben Schulman. Thanks so much for tuning in. Get your thoughts heard. Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker.
Haven't guessed yet? It is Blue Jays Talk with Blair and Barker. If you haven't guessed yet, the Jays lost 7-3 to the Boston Red Sox at the Rogers Center in front of another big and rather, by the end of the game, rather grumbling crowd, Kevin Barker. Noticeable boos for the local side as they left the field. Hey, Kevin, the Jays were 4 for 31 with runners in scoring position in these 3 games. That's not good, is it?
Yeah, it's not real good. I mean, they were 1 for 15 tonight.
Pardon me. An update? A late update? A late update. Pardon me. 4 for 32 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it's because they were 1 for 15 instead of 1 for 14.
I know. See, that's how it happens.
Don't be afraid to pay attention and stop yelling at me about something. I'm sure that's what it was.
It wasn't. I just forgot that last inning. The drama of the last inning carried me away.
Yeah, there's a lot of why swings. Like, why'd you swing at that? I mean, every time you watch Vladdy swing with a runner in scoring position, he's chasing the ball in. Why all of a sudden is he doing that again? When he was going well, he's getting a bunch of hits, and everybody's excited because he's hitting a 17-hop ground ball to right field and getting a hit and getting on base. That's because he was swinging at good pitches. Now, all of a sudden, he's facing his buddy who plays third. He thinks he can, hit everything from his front knee all the way out to 3 feet off the plate away. I just don't get it. Like that, you're watching the TV, you're watching the game, you're watching the at-bats, you're watching most of the 15 at-bats with runners in scoring position, and you walk away asking yourself why. Like, until they figure out why, Jeff, I just think consistently this is what it's going to look like, right? And Kevin and the plethora of other arms that are coming in the game, they get it. Like, they get if they give up a run or two in an inning, that game is over. And that's a shame, right? 1 through 5 and the order didn't have an RBI. I mean, they had plethora of chances. They were 0 for 7 through the first 3 innings with runners in scoring position. 0 for 7.
Left 6 on base.
Yeah, one for 10 after 4 innings. Like, it's the why at bats, why you swinging at that, why you let a guy get you out that way. Bello basically said, okay, I'm going to throw a sinker. I'm going to start it on the black end. It's going to run. It's going to end up 7 inches off the plate. You'll get yourself out. And then occasionally I'll flip a slider away. I'll throw my changeup because it's really good. But most of the time, because I throw hard and I know a bunch of guys got to cheat to get the velocity, you will get yourself out. And that's exactly the way it looks. So, it's frustrating. Like, it's frustrating that the in-game adjustment's just not there. And just the grind and gritting your teeth and saying, the heck with this, you ain't doing it again. And it's rare that you see that, and it's too bad. It's a shame, man. It's just, the Red Sox ain't that good. I mean, they're better than we thought they'd be, but they ain't good enough to come into the Rogers Center June the 16th and sweep the Jays. Quite frankly, it's embarrassing.
Apparently
it's embarrassing.
Well, it is embarrassing.
I mean, they had a plethora of runners on base. It's not like they didn't have their chances, is my point.
416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-666-0590. Kevin Barker says that sweep was embarrassing. I can't disagree with him. How do you feel? 416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-666-0590. The Jays have tomorrow off before they start a series against the Cleveland Guardians. Kevin, 4 errors tonight by the Blue Jays. Kevin Gausman tonight, a couple of solo home runs. Look, Kevin Gausman, the starting pitching's been pretty good this year. But and I was going to say, I questioned the pitch selection with Duran, but I mean, what the hell? What does it matter? I mean, really, what am I questioning here?
I
question Tim Mays. I don't understand the bullpen use tonight.
Well, I get the Tim Mason thing. You're coming in, you're facing lefties. Duran, I mean, don't hang a slider, right? It's the velocity was better for Mason. It's just the location of the secondary stuff, right? You can't hang a secondary pitch this late in the season. These dudes mechanically sound now, like they're hunting stuff in the strike zone. If you miss lollipop a slider in there, you're going to get beat, no matter if he's left-handed or right-handed. The Bird coming in the 8th.
I'm sorry, Burr was the one I meant. That's right.
I don't get it.
No, I don't either.
That one for me, I mean, the only reason I don't get it is when they brought Pop in, it was against 2 lefties with second and third and one out. Explain it to me.
I know.
Like, I just don't understand that. You're bringing a lesser pitcher in to hold the deficit, to give your lineup a chance. You knew as well as I did, as soon as they gave up that extra run to make it a 3-run difference, and then Vladdy made the error and made it a 4-run difference, boy, you could back up the truck.
Oh, between that and the Brendan Little decision the other night. Yesterday, our friend the skipper did not have a particularly great series, sorry to say.
Yeah, and the errors, right? The Gausman throwing over with Reese McGuire on first. Why? Like, what's the point? I get you trying to slide step and control the running game. It's Reese McGuire. Make a better pitch, get a dude out. Don't walk a guy with 2 outs. Like, why are you throwing over? That made no sense. I understand he got out of it. And then the Barger thing, he was lazy, right? It's move your feet. Don't let the ball play you. The Vladdy thing, the exact same way. The Kiermaier thing was bad luck. So, yes, some bad luck thrown in there, but this is sort of the thing, right? When you're not hitting, Jeff, it's very hard for guys that are hitters first to not sort of carry that over to the defensive side. And I think just a little bit tonight, you may have saw that.
Well, not only that, Kevin, but I would suggest the misplay we saw from Spencer Horwitz earlier in the series.
As the first baseman playing second.
On the pickoff play, Addison Barger at third base. We were kind of led to believe Addison Barger was being groomed to be a little more of an outfielder. I don't think he's going to be an everyday third baseman. Again, this is, you mentioned this today on Blair and Barker. This goes all the way back to Vladdy being moved to third base for a game because he had to get Justin Turner and Daniel Vogelbach's bat in the lineup. It really does smell of panic. Run prevention was the one thing you did pretty well. And I get why they're doing it. You have to at some point, you've got to sacrifice run prevention to create some offense. But this series was this might be the most frustrating 3 games that they've played this year.
Yeah,
their numbers. Dan Shulman made a great point. Their runners with scoring position numbers were not bad in the 2 weeks coming up to this. They were not bad, but it's just that they get into this ballpark. And for whatever the reason, there's no home field advantage here.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
I hate to say it until Vladdy starts having better at bats with runners in scoring position and runners on base.
It's not going to matter.
I think it's for naught.
Sam in Hamilton, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Hey guys, first of all, this just sucks. Did we ever expect this to be kind of year 6, year 7 into Vladdy and Bo? Was this where we would be? I thought we'd be competing for divisions, competing for World Series titles, and it just feels like something went wrong. And I have a theory of what probably went wrong. I don't know if you guys agree this, is that Springer and Bichette ran into each other. I think that broke Ross Atkins' brain that he needed to get better defense instead of better offense. Like, he looked at that team and run prevention. But it just sucks that we're here. And, I just look at this team, and it just looks dead. Springer's getting frustrated at umpires. Vladdy's pointing up to the gods after he gets a hard ball. I don't know what can change. They're not going to change. For God's sake, it's been 2 years, and Don Mattingly's still here. John Schneider's still here. Every single hitting coach is still here. Ross Atkins is still here. So, why do you think on Friday or tomorrow, or when Friday's game comes, do you think anything's going to change? Because I don't think it is. And I think, unfortunately, this team is so process-oriented that they just stick to the plan no matter how bad it goes. And I think that's going to be the death of this franchise, is they just don't know how to react when things go bad. They just are so stubborn in their ways.
Sam, I'm going to get our technical director, Austin Mackey, to keep this call and hang on to it, because I think you basically we may use that in the 2024 Expos film when it's done. We may just play your call, because I think you pretty much.
I think Sam's on to something about Bo and Springer running into each other.
And Sam, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. No, because it's funny, because that kind of gets to something I said, and this is, I admit at the time, look, when the Teoscar Hernandez deal happened, I thought, okay, they're going to take that money, they're going to spend it elsewhere. Teoscar was kind of a bonehead in the base paths at time. He wasn't a great defender. I get all this yada yada, and I realized after the last playoff series against the Minnesota Twins, see, I think what Ross Atkins did, and this is to your point, one, I think he overreacted to that loss to the Seattle Mariners, and two, I think maybe management underreacted to that loss to Minnesota. And you may be onto something. That collision, and thank you for the call, Sam. That collision, it's still fresh in our mind. But run prevention, it's entirely possible, Kevin, that it goes back to that. But talk about a course correction. There's a course correction, and then there's course correcting your course correction to correct the course correction and go around in circles, which is basically what Ross has been doing since that. He's been going around in circles.
I think Sam's on to something, but you still had an off season to fix it, like you saw firsthand.
Absolutely.
Firsthand. And then you knew all of a sudden that you might want to score some more runs. Like doing this back-to-back years and thinking that that's going to work with the Orioles the way the Orioles are now, and the Yankees getting Soto. Like you knew those two teams were going to score tons of runs, and you weren't going to. So I get Sam's point, but I also think big picture, it was right in front of you. You knew you had to score more runs. You knew you had to help out an older, if not the oldest, rotation in the American League East.
Yeah. You were really counting on a repetition of a couple of miracles here one, the bullpen, and two, that everybody in the rotation was going to stay healthy and was going to be at least as good as they were last year.
I think
that's
they relied on
that's not realistic.
I think they relied on people like Kirk and Springer to be 2 times of what they were on the back of their baseball card. And I mean, I think if you raise your hand and ask 10 Blue Jays fans, you think any 10 of those would say that and think that? I think not.
Yeah, I think the misplaced trust in Alejandro Kirk is one of the things we don't talk about enough with this team. I really do. I think that you got to know your own players. And I think the Jays have misread Alejandro Kirk. He's not what they thought he was going to be. I mean, he basically can't play. He can't be your number one catcher. He's basically your backup catcher right now. And I think the Jays thought they had more. And I don't even want to begin to think what the hell next year's going to look like if they don't re-sign Danny Jansen. Like they're going to spend they're going to spend the offseason trying to find another catcher.
Yeah, they got a lot to do in the offseason.
Oh,
a lot.
Holy God. Larry and Thornhill, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Jeff, I've been a season ticket holder for almost 40 years. And I listened to your show earlier this week, and you talked about that the Boston series wasn't necessarily make or break, but it was going to be a good indicator of what the future holds, even short term.
Yep.
When do we DFA a couple of players in the starting lineup that shouldn't be there? And we got a pretty good indication that we may be trading a couple starters before the deadline. So where are we going?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. I've said I can't imagine this organization going into a total rebuild. You know, I just can't. But I've also said, and I think Kevin's with me on this, I just don't have a handle on what this front office. I don't know what they're seeing. I can't put it any other way. I don't know what they're seeing. I don't know. I just don't know what they're seeing. I think they're smart people. You know, they've got good intentions. I believe that, but I have no idea what they're seeing. I have no idea what they think is happening in front of them. If they think that this is just a matter of bad luck, or whatever. In terms of DFAing players, I mean, the guys that are weighing this team down right now are Springer, and you've got $60 million roughly left in him. I don't think you're going to swallow $60 million. You know, Alejandro Kirk, I mean, he's not at the point where he's really, costing you a ton of money. And besides, you don't have anybody else that can catch. Justin Turner is starting to see some life. Justin Turner, really, all the Jays want Justin Turner to do right now is to play better so they can trade him. I mean, that's basically where we are right now.
To get a hit with the bases loaded.
Well, and to get a hit with the bases loaded would be nice. But I mean, beyond that, I'll ask you folks this, because I understand you're frustrated. Okay, who are you frustrated with? Springer, Kirk, Turner, Bo. Let's get rid of all of them. What are you left with? Like, you can't get rid of half your team. And I'm not just talking DFAing. I'm talking trades. Well, you can't get rid of half your team. There's a lot wrong with this lineup. This lineup isn't one hitter away. This lineup's probably 4 hitters away when you get right down to it. 3 plus Vladdy away. That's not going to be fixed in season. I got news for you. There is no planet on which that gets repaired in season. It's just not happening. So I would ask people to bear that in mind when they want to DFA everybody. And I mean, that's just, that's the way it is. But, and Kevin, I get the fans, man. I get the frustration. I absolutely get the frustration with this team. I completely get it. It's really since that collision in the Seattle series, it just seems like this organization has struggled to find its footing. Because again, it's not like they were a better team last year than they were the year before. They weren't. Mm-hmm. Regular season record was worse. It almost seems as if that collision had some sort of, I don't know, has just lingered over the team.
Huh. Yeah, look, I think there's comes to a realization that sooner or later somebody's got to pay for it. Who is that? Like, is that players? Is that coaches? Is that front office people?
I mean, we may be beyond that.
How do you think so?
We may be beyond that. Listen, I'm not saying I disagree with you, but this management team has been in place for 8 years. Like,
long time.
This thing isn't going to be expunged overnight. Getting rid of one guy isn't going to change the process. It's not going to change the system. It's not going to change the philosophy. It's not going to change any of that for a while. Now, James Click comes in here. If he is the guy, and what is he, vice president of baseball strategy? I mean, I'll just leave that hanging in the air. But people have this idea that James Click's, and nothing's changing. Nothing's going to change.
Mm-mm.
This organization, from top to bottom, it's been built this way for 8 years, and there's been a lot of money sunk into it, and there's been a lot of philosophical capital put into this. So, if you snap your fingers tomorrow and Ross Atkins is gone, process isn't changing. John Schneider's gone, process isn't changing. Don Mattingly's gone, process isn't changing.
Maybe it's the personnel on the field.
It could very well be the personnel in the field. Mark in Toronto, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Hi. Well, another disappointing, frustrating loss. I go to the Jays games a lot. However, I said to myself today, I live around the Rogers Center, and there's no way I'm going back to a Blue Jay game. I'm done. I'm finished. This is not what we expect from professional athletes on the field. I'm not going to point out players, but there's something going on. The environment. I know you said the coaching change is not going to do it, or front office not going to do it, or get rid of this player or that player, but there's just something going on. The environment. I sit by the dugout and near the dugout. Sorry, and I don't see that environment I saw a couple of years ago. I don't see that high five, the laughter, the them having fun in the dugout. I don't see that. I see faces that are sad. I see faces that don't care. I see dumb mistakes, and I'm done. As a fan, I'm done. I regret buying Toronto. What are the new shirts? The sweaters that they got. The new shirts. I'm done as a fan.
What do they have to do? What do they have to do to bring you back?
It's going to take a long and hard. They've got to show me that they want to win. And I'll give them 20 games. If they can show me they want to win, I might come back. But I'm not. I'm finished. As of today, I actually threw out all my Blue Jay gear. I'm done.
Mark, appreciate the call.
Well, it's too bad. We hate to lose baseball fans because, you can still go and watch baseball as a whole and enjoy, sort of what's taking place in front of you. And I will say this, I don't think it's they don't care. I think when they go 1 for 15 and Vladdy looks like he looks at certain at-bats that you expect a little bit better at-bat from a guy like that. And it just sort of, the atmosphere around the lineup is just not the way it's supposed to be looking at that time.
Oh, 7-3. Oh, listen, fans are frustrated. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to talk to the fans and let people vent. I don't know, maybe something will change as a result of that. But it's pretty apparent that it's pretty apparent that people aren't yet ready to buy tickets to come and see the best player in the other team play. I mean, they're not. And I completely understand their frustration. I'm with you. I mean, in terms of not trying, I take these guys on good enough faith that they are trying. But I'll tell you, the body language, man, it does not look good in the field. That can't be candy coated. Yeah, I think Tim Mayza. I just expect calamity when Tim Mayza is out there because he looks like he expects calamity. I'm not laying it all on Tim Mayza, but there's just not a lot. There's not much of a spark there. And yes, I understand they're not playing well, Jeff. So there's not going to be a spark. But I compare what I'm seeing from Horwitz, from Barger even, from Davis Schneider. Even Davis. The thing with Davis Schneider could be 20 for 21 or 0 for 21, and he looks like the same dude to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's... Listen, I think the fact that Horwitz, IKF, Barger, Davis Schneider, Ernie Clement, those are your guys right now. That says a great deal about where this team is. Not taking anything away from those guys because they're taking advantage of an opportunity, but none of us expected that.
Well, it'd be nice to see Arelis Martinez play too. I mean,
you don't know now. Come on, he's going to play a couple of games this weekend. Now he'll play 2 games and then he'll be back in Buffalo.
I mean, you got to make sure the righty throws it in the right spot for him. Like it's
you certainly
how dare he have to lay off a sinker in off the plate? I mean, he's a big leaguer. How dare he have to do that? That's the part of it, right? That's what I hate to hear. Is basically they're coming out and saying this kid can't hit everybody. He's got to be matched up against the right dude. Is that the right message to send to a 22-year-old? This is my point today. When we were I don't want to say it was an argument, but I was right and you were wrong when I was saying that, why not just throw him out there? You're 3 games under 500. What can go wrong? That's how you learn. You stink for a while. You figure out that you need to change things. You need to not do it like that to be better. So the next time you're going up there, you look like you're supposed to look. That's the whole point. And I just don't like that message. It's basically saying we're trying to match him up against the right guy. Everybody throws a sinker. Everybody throws a slider. Sooner or later, you got to figure out how to hit one.
416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-666-0590. If you've just joined us, you probably figured out the Jays lost tonight, 7-3. They've been swept by the Boston Red Sox. They are, what are they now, under 500? 4 games under 500? I mean, at this point, I'm going to stop counting, basically. They have tomorrow off, and they've got the Cleveland Guardians for a couple of games starting on the weekend. We'll take a break and come back with more of your calls. We've got a lot of calls, and people are pretty pissed. It's Blue Jays Talk on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Our core values: equality, respect, the pursuit of greatness. Through and through, this is who we are.
Be at the ballpark to experience a proud tradition. Canada Day, Monday, July 1st. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays Canadian tuxedo hat giveaway. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Proud to the core. Canadian to the core. Blue Jays to the core.
We're 2meninatruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2meninatruck.ca. So when you gotta move, I'll move them day. Think 2meninatruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2meninatruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Bring it in, Canada. When it comes to small business, Desjardins is a big fan. And not just the hop-on-the-bandwagon fan. We're the in-it-for-the-long-haul fan. The fan that's been there from the start. That's why Desjardins awarded 150 entrepreneurs with Good Spark grants worth $20,000 each. Because like any fan, there's nothing we love more than celebrating a goal!
See how Desjardins is cheering on small business at goodsparkgrants.ca.
Not tomorrow, not someday. The home improvements begin today. It's game on with Timber Mart. Build that deck, raise that fence, landscape till your property is beautiful. Don't pay for 12 months on the Timber Mart deferred payment program. Your locally owned, completely Canadian hub of building and renovation expertise. Get your Timber Mart credit card at participating locations and pay later. 12 months later. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details or apply at timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizzapizza.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Vladdy with a huge stretch for the double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
One day at a time when you get down to it. 416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-866-0590. That was John Schneider, the manager of the Blue Jays. Blue Jays 7-3 losers to the Boston Red Sox tonight. They've been swept by the Red Sox. Kevin Barker, Brandon Weil of the Score. This is just sent this out on Twitter. The Blue Jays ranks at home this season, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this. OPS 23rd, runs 26th, home runs 29th. That's why people are bored. Because the team doesn't play well in front of them. Like it's I mean, you know, you've already had one caller say he's not going to go to any more. I mean, that's why they're at their worst when they're at home, when they're playing in front of 38,000 people.
Can't add anything to that. You're exactly right.
Tyler in Delhi. What's up, Tyler?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Well, you know.
Just calling in, like, when is John Schneider going to get fired? Like, you're putting George Springer in the number 6 hole and saying he's close to becoming out of his slump. Like, he's 3 strikeouts again tonight. Like, how much are we going to deal with this guy?
Yeah, listen, Kevin and I, Kevin, I don't necessarily believe John Schneider has the final say in everything when it comes to this lineup. You do, and you've been told that he does. Yep. I prefer to remain suspicious of that just because I like John Schneider on a personal level.
I do too.
But
I like John.
I don't get the loyalty to George Springer. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Yeah, I get the contract. You know, unless ownership is telling you that got to get rid of the contract, and I'm not hearing that. I mean, really, George Springer can be my 4th outfielder, and he can be my defensive replacement. You know, it won't be the first time in baseball history a team has had to suck up a lousy contract, and it won't be. You know, look at the Detroit Tigers and Javier Baez. I mean, it happens. That if you're going to fish in those waters, sometime you're going to pull up a rubber boot, and that's essentially what we're seeing with George Springer.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy would be 3 games under 500.
Oh, God, yeah.
Managing this team.
I think he would, too. Robin and Woodbridge, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Hey, guys, love your show.
Thank you.
Just a couple of things. Vladdy, to start off with Vladdy, you guys remember how he came into this league? He was the same as his dad.